You're listening to the Wolverine and the Warthog, Chronicles of the Wild podcast. Two hunters from opposite ends of the earth, united by instinct, driven by the wild. These are our stories.
I'm cruising around, and it's the typical, get out of the truck, run to the top of the hill, glass, then look for cattle, then check my Onyx for where's the next supposed spring that I'm going to check if it's dry or not in bits and pieces. Anyway, I'm doing that on my way out. I'm working my way in this big loop. It just so happens it's probably 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. I come out into this big flat, it's a big open flat where I'm thinking hey, this looks a bit more like antelope country. And I'm cruising along a little bit, and I see a bunch of cattle in one spot on this little rise. And I'm thinking okay, and I'm kind of keyed into cattle in that country are going to stay pretty close to water. They much almost have to water every day if there's water, and they're going to be somewhere close by, and there's a bunch of them there. So it's I'm going to check that out. There's nothing on Onyx, nothing on the maps, doesn't show anything. And I'm okay, cool. Did the typical jump out of the truck, sling my binos over my shoulder, and then it's probably 150 yards to where they are. And I'm let's grab my bow, right? So I grab the bow, walk over there. I hike over there. There's probably about an 8-foot rise that comes up to where, the cattle are kind of standing, and then it's kind of dips off behind that. So I'm just walking, broad daylight. There's nothing. On one side, you could see for 3 or 4 miles, and these hills I just come out of. I hadn't seen an antelope the entire morning. So I get up there, I stop, and there's a cow 20, 25, 30, and there's about 30 cattle total, ranging from me to about 100 yards away. So I'm standing there. Right as I get there, it looks like there's a seep coming from probably a leaking pipeline, right? So there's this little spring of water coming out, and then it trickles for about maybe 15 or 20 yards until it pitters out and dries out. And I'm oh, cool. Yeah, interesting. There's some water here. Literally, I'm processing that. Next thing, an antelope buck walks out from a cluster of 5 cows at about 80 yards away. I shit you not. So I've just walked there in broad daylight, right? I'm standing there. My release is on my bow. I'm basically sussing the scenario out, and by a miracle of just circumstances, right, there was a big antelope buck that was in a cluster of cattle, behind them. So it doesn't know I'm there. I don't know it's there. The next minute, it walks out 5 yards, and it's that typical, oh, shit, and it pops its head up just like they do, right? It looks straight into my soul, where I'm yep, that thing's going to float. It's going to just disappear, and it's starts walking towards the water, and I'm wigging, dude. I'm it didn't see me. And I haven't moved, right? Unfortunately, I'm just standing there stationary, right? So I'm doing the old, the bow's tucked. I'm undoing the release aid from my bow.
Oh my gosh.
Putting it on my wrist, taking an arrow off. The whole time, dude, this buck doesn't flinch. He doesn't head bop, nothing. Just walks right up.
Oh,
he's
thirsty.
Walks right up. And at this point, he was at 75, 80 when I first saw him. And I was that's in range for me. I'm in the game already.
Yeah.
So it was, and talk about totally caught with your pants down. He walks to 46 is where he stops, puts his head down, and just starts drinking at the water. And I literally pick my rangefinder up. I'm 45, 46. I'm okay. And I'm shaking, man. I'm already fucking amped up. So I draw back, because this all happened in seconds. I went from no anticipation of anything even occurring to got a big buck immediately in my lap, unbeknownst to me and it. And as I get to full draw, it does the whole quick head pickup thing. And so I freak out a little more, because I'm thinking man, maybe it caught me picking its head up. No, picks its head up, does the quick look, takes 3 more steps towards me, puts his head back down, just starts drinking again. And for the first time in a long time, I almost came unglued. I was so friggin' shaky that I've got it. I know it's at 45, right? And I'm doing the whole on the antelope, off the antelope kind of pin float. It's rough. And I'm wigging, and I'm also this needs to happen now, get this arrow gone. Maybe it's just going to get a drink and float, So I didn't take that core moment to
dial
focus
it in.
So I rushed the shot off. And I knew right as the shot broke, my bow bops a little bit. I knew it, it was low and back. Hit this thing. I knew it was low and back. And there's a couple of things that went through my head. One was like, I can't believe that just happened. Two is like, that was a terrible shot, and I'm weaking out about that. There's also this part of me that's like, antelope are not that tough. It's like, I'll commit whatever time it takes. Like, there's an arrow in this thing now. Like, this goat's mine. Like, it's gonna be. That wasn't ideal, but anyway, that's all happening in a split second. It friggin' darts off, stops, does the old like hunch back over, stiff-legged, runs right behind one of the biggest bull in this whole group. And these things look a bit like Africana Texas Longhorn. Like they're smooth skin, mottled skin for like hot weather. Big old friggin' horn. Like this thing probably had like 2 feet of horn on each side. So past its ear and its horn, I can see this antelope standing there, right? So I'm like with my range finding under its face and its legs, and I'm getting like 58, 59, 58. I'm like, okay, 60. Crank my bow to 60, and I like edge out a little bit. And now this bull's like standing there, just looking at me. I have this big old horn sticking out. There's this antelope crunched over on the side, just wondering what just happened. And as I do, like it kind of gets a bit alert, and I'm like, oh shit, like you can't walk out. And I was like, I can't shoot past this cow's face. Like, I'm going to hit the horn, or like, this is not happening,
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about it like a bronze. I'm like, I could just slip it in. I'm like, no, you know what's going to happen. Like, you're going to smoke this thing in the horn or something.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not a responsible shot at all. So now I'm stuck here, right? I'm thinking, like, shit. Like, now what, Anyway, it only takes a matter of seconds where it just walks like 2 or 3. As soon as it walks and covers that antelope, come to full draw. It walks out, right? And that antelope's still just standing there hunched. And that's when I remember just like locking in. I'm holding, and I like settle. And it's just one of those perfect arrow break moments where like I'm like top of the shoulder in the pocket. That arrow just breaks, right? Spirals, gets to the top of its arc, and at 60, it's nice because you see the arrow flight where like it's flying up. It like hits the peak of its trajectory. And then that last fall, and time stops, right? It's just like everything's like the barrel of a wave. Like time just stops, right? Everything's like this acute blur to this focus of this antelope, and it just drops in and just absolutely 12 rings. I mean, just absolutely perfectly punches it, Arrow just goes through it like a wet paper bag, 10 yards, does a circle, falls over. And I just chuck my bow on the ground. I'm like, no one is going to believe it. No one is going to believe it.
He called me
what just happened.
Freaking out. We were going to church, and he's like, told me that story, and I was like, he's like, no one's going to believe me. Like, how does that ever work? I mean, sometimes stuff just works in your favor.
Yeah. I know. I think I said in my text, it's like, man, sometimes rather be lucky than good. Yeah. However, playing it back in my head, circumstantially, the chance of that occurring, it's one of those just like right place, right time, perfect scenario things that never happens to you. Right?
I know, yeah.
But then it does, and anyway, it was an odd, just the whole circumstance, right?
Yeah.
Of like, only been there for a day and a half and had that whole thing occur. I didn't even see how big he was necessarily, right? I was not going to be picky.
Yeah.
I just knew he was a decent buck, and when I walked up, I was like, hey, this is an old. I do remember in my mind's eye seeing him being skinny and older, so I knew he was. But I also thought, it's like, man, this country is so arid out here. It's like, I'm not surprised these things are kind of skinny looking. Could see a bit of his ribs, and not that he was that unhealthy necessarily, but I do remember seeing that in my mind's eye.
A struggle out there. So the guy that started the season with 0 tags is now on the board before the rest of any of us are.
Yeah, and way to get it done with redemption on that second shot and capitalizing on that opportunity.
So good.
Yeah.
You almost have to get a cheap mistake every now and then, because I'm good about making opportunities count.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just doesn't matter the experience. Like, you get something that throws you off.
Yep.
That threw me off because it just was not even like it's even one of those things where like you see a buck in the distance in a tree stand, right, and they're rutting, and you're like, oh, that's a good buck, like it's a shooter buck, and then in the next 30 seconds he chases a doe under your tree and you kill him. Like, you were still in the moment. Like, you knew it was going to happen. You knew you were willing to shoot him. Like, so even though it was rushed, you were kind of like in the zone. I was not in the zone.
Yeah, not even. Just like, totally caught you off guard.
But the second shot, and I remember thinking about this, and it is one of the wonderful things about archery. There is really this, like, the break of the shot. It's an interesting thing, right? Because you're like, I don't know how to totally describe it, but people will know what I'm talking about when you've done that enough, because you've like locked back, and so you've got like all this tension, and then it's just like captured.
Yeah.
It's like just captured in this moment, right? But it's gonna break.
Yeah.
More so than a rifle. That's almost like stored energy that's out of your control. This is like stored energy that you're part of.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean,
Totally.
behind a bro. And then there's that other moment, and it doesn't matter whether it's compound or a trad bow. Like, there is the break of the arrow, right, where it gets released, and then you just watch it freaking arc off, in this.
And as soon as it breaks, like that's the thing. It's like throwing a ball or anything where you're like, which is weird because it's not like it's not as much like touch and feel as a ball, but like on 3Ds or anything, you're like, oh yeah, that was like exactly where I was supposed to.
It's a magic moment. It's like you've got control of it, but you don't as well. And unlike a bullet that happens like out of your ability to perceive, like you get the mind's eye break of a shot going off, knowing where you pull the trigger with a bow. You get that, but you also get like this little time capsule of like where that arrow is like airborne, right?
Yeah.
And the world's still happening. Like there's a bit of time before it makes its mark. Magic, one of the most fucking awesome pieces of time you can get to experience.
Yeah, so congrats, Andy's on the board.
Congrats, that's awesome.
I'm feeling good as well, man. I needed that.
I know you did need that. So, okay, well let's get to Sage here. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome.
Thank
back.
you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, really keen to have you on, buddy.
This is one of my best buddies, Sage Houle. Grew up here in Gunnison. He was actually, I think I got into my first fist fight with Sage, so that's why we're still tight to this day. It's very important to fist fight, as you're growing up.
Meet your ass, bro.
Yeah. Not back then. We were about the same size back then, No, but Sage, I've known Sage forever. His family's been here a long time. They own Pie-Zans Pizzeria just down the road from the store here. Best place to get pizza in Gunnison.
Yeah.
We sure appreciate having Pie-Zans down the road there. But Sage is a jack of all trades as far as hunting goes. I mean, you gotta get into it all for sure. And Sage has pushed me to get into a lot of different stuff in the hunting and fishing world that I wouldn't have done otherwise, as far as lakes and waterfowl and big game and turkeys. And I mean, the only reason that I am turkey hunting now is because of Sage, and same thing with uplands and lake fishing and stuff like that. So, you've dedicated a lot of time to this because your family is not originally from here. So I kind of wanted to talk about like your dad's upbringing and like where he came from, what he grew up doing, and then kind of how you guys ended up out here.
Yeah. Well, they grew up in Massachusetts. My dad was from Shrewsbury. My mom was from Worcester, not too far apart. But yeah, he grew up there and didn't really get to hunt or fish much growing up. And he did a little bit, and they didn't really see much back then. And the people he was with, they were people that didn't really know stuff. But from what he told me, it was more like you'd go out, you'd see a track, and then it was something you talked about at camp that day, like, man, I saw a deer track today. Like, how cool is that? Like that, and they never killed anything, but he said his whole life he just felt, not where he should be, just felt out of place, felt like he didn't belong, and just had this like yearning to go to the West. And my dad was kind of like a delinquent, say. He wasn't a bad dude, but he just got in trouble and liked to party when he was a kid and do dumb kid stuff. And his dad was a cop, so he would get into trouble and whatnot. So he came out to the Grand Canyon. I think he was like 18, and he just fell in love.
A float trip or just a trip?
He went out to he worked at a like cafeteria or something, or like one of the main places. I can't remember what
like
it was.
What are we talking year-wise now?
I think summer. In the summer.
By what year?
Oh man, I don't know. Probably like late 80s.
Yeah. Okay.
So he said he worked out there for a year, just loved it, and then he met my mom, and then ended up honestly got her knocked up. It wasn't like it was planned or nothing. They were just dating, and he was like, I'm moving to Arizona, like I'm moving to the West. So she was like, well, let's go. So they said we were gonna fly. I was 2 months old, at the time they decided to move.
Dang.
So they said, we're moving, my dad's driving, my mom's flying. So he's driving and he's getting close to Gunnison. And
Their whole life in the truck.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everything's in the truck, and they didn't have much, and so he's driving, and his buddy called him. I don't know what, he must have been in contact with or something because they didn't have phones then. His buddy's like, stop in Crested Butte. And he was like, all right. So he swung in, high school friend, stopped at Crested Butte, called my mom, said, we're moving to Gunnison. Changed the ticket. So then, yeah, that's how we ended up here.
Wow, that is
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. And times weren't like ever tough or anything, but when they first got here, he said, he was selling CDs to buy food, like did whatever he could and took whatever job he could. And then he was a commercial plumber for over 20 years and did that. My mom was a server at the W Cafe for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And then
And that was like when we were growing up. Yeah. Because I remember like we go out to Sage's house and your dad was still doing the plumbing stuff, had all the copper pipe and stuff out there. Yeah.
And he would do commercials, so he would travel. So he would go to Vail, to Aspen, to wherever. So he'd be gone a lot of the weeks, just Monday through Friday he's gone, back Saturday, Sunday. But it was never like too tough or anything, and it was good. And then
But is that like he got into the hunting and fishing out here? Like he did a little bit of it in Massachusetts.
Yep, did a little bit of it out here. And then he came, when he got out here, he started hunting, didn't know anything. And he said, everybody he's talking to, they're killing elk every year. And he was like, man, I don't know, what am I doing wrong? And he said he had a little hatchback car. He'd drive it as far as he could get it, then he would park and then start walking. And he's like, back then, he's like, I was just popping to all these spots. I was going here one day, I was going here one day. And then my mom met Dave Nelson in the W. And he was hunting
Dave
a
Nelson
spot.
is a long time Gunnison ranching. I mean, they've been here. John and Jen were here a long time, I imagine. Yeah.
So he met him, and then Dave told him like, hey, go, you're hunting over here. He's like, go try the other side. Just go up here, park here, and, go that direction, see if you find anything. So he said he went up there, and he had a pickup now, so he could go further up. He got up there, and he said, he starts the truck, and my dad used to smoke cigarettes a lot, so he said he's hiking. He's like, shit, forgot my smokes. I'm going to go back, I'm going to get my smokes, and then go for the day. So he grabs the smokes. He said he turns around, and there's elk running through the field. And he's like, oh my God, there's elk. And then he's like, oh my God, I'm hunting elk. Like, I need to like shoot one now. And then he had a cow tag. So he said one comes out and stops, and he takes his time, shoots it, and drops it. And he's just like mind blown. Like, I can't believe I actually just killed an elk. And then, it kind of spiraled from there. And then he just started going more. And they got horses at one point, and we had horses when I was younger growing up. And he would pack in, and he was killing. He loved elk. That's what he hunted. I mean, he hunted deer a little bit, and we hunted deer a lot when I was a kid, archery, but he was never really a good archer and didn't practice enough. But he just focused on elk, and he was shooting elk every year, and that just got him hooked.
It's cool because it's been a part of your upbringing like the whole time. Like It wasn't necessarily a part of his upbringing, but because of that change that he made, like you're a freaking
100%.
killer and an ace on a lot of stuff just because of that commitment he made. You could have been in Massachusetts doing fentanyl on the streets.
Totally.
And, it's like
100%.
like that's a scary thing to do as a parent, but like what a good move. And now being like business owners and members of the community and stuff. I mean, that's just
kind of think of that experience that's different for us three, right? To be like, to have that first experience when you're a little older, because I'm assuming he was probably in his 20s when he killed his first elk.
Yeah.
Right. But not to have come from like how cool that was. Not really have someone at your shoulder.
Yeah.
Or your dad or something, and then like living that first moment where we got to share with somebody that knew what they were doing. That got us into that. So that's kind of fun. What have you got for brothers and sisters?
Oh, I have none.
Okay, so you're only
child
on that. Yeah. And then what's kind of funny with that is, which is what happens, which is the thing I noticed about you, is you're not an average Joe hunter. You're in.
Yeah.
For sure.
All in.
No, for sure.
Just like us. Like, we're average people with average paychecks and average means, but above average effort,
Yeah. You are a very dedicated hunter for sure, and being incredibly successful. How old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
I'll be 33 at the end of October.
Okay, nice. Yeah, you've been busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the years are flying. It's crazy.
I know, but learning more and more every year, you know, it's
totally.
like, yeah.
And it just, I mean, growing up here, it just was, I don't know, it was just part of life. Like me and Connor have talked about it, and then it was just so different. And I mean, and back then too, you know, hunting, people didn't tell you stuff. It was so more secretive and so, I don't know, it was just quiet. People didn't talk about it.
We didn't even like being like best buddies. Like we didn't even necessarily talk about it. Like it's something that you did with your folks and I did with my folks, but
and
it
then
wasn't
we're going to each other's houses. You're like, you killed an elk? Oh, I killed an elk too. Oh, you shot a deer? Oh, me too. And then it's like, it was just life. It was just so different. And now it's a popular thing to do.
It is popular now.
But I mean, just as a kid, man, I mean, we went out so much, and we would go out coyote hunting, duck, whatever we could hunt. My dad would take me out. I mean, shooting rabbits, whatever it was. I mean, we were getting up at 3 a.m. and go duck hunt Dome Lakes for one pass of ducks to fly by and shoot and maybe get one to pack up the decoys and go home. Just
when I remember
going out there,
like getting dropped off at
for sure.
Like we would get dropped off at Taylor or Spring Creek, like no vehicles, no driver's license, no nothing. They get turned out for a couple nights up there, you know, and I don't know.
It's just such a good time growing up doing that stuff. And I mean, like these shed antlers were so different, and it's so difficult now. But back then you would go out and it was nothing to fill the pickup bed, and we didn't pick up the chalks, or you would pick up a couple hard whites that were big or whatever, but you were just picking up browns. It was just so fun. And when I was a kid at first, you know, like sometimes you're like, man, I wish I was in Denver, or like playing this sport, or wish I could skateboard or play basketball. But now it's like, I wouldn't change a thing.
I know, what a valuable skill, because like some people that we even went to school with that didn't grow up hunting, now they're trying to get into it, and it's hard to get into later in life, right? Like you're starting at a disadvantage because there's so much to learn, you know, that we kind of just learned up until we graduated high school and then continued to build on top of that, you know. But
and just like the basic things that like kids now, or not just all kids, but even, you know, people in their 30s just so dependent on an Onyx or some sort of technology that we didn't have it. Like it was looking at a map, okay, this is where we're going, and you didn't have inReach, you didn't have anything when you went out. It was just, that's how it was. And
like so Sage was saying he listened to the podcast with Hunter Enlow, and the story of us trying to call an elk. That was Sage and I with cans of Hormel chili in a freaking backpack, like
some SpaghettiOs.
Walking down into some crap hole, and with him and our other friend who's about his size in a 2-man tent. I had to sleep in the middle. I mean, dude, we just had no idea what we were doing. But I mean, just like continued to build from there, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And you've killed nice elk with your bow, nice elk with your muzzleloader, nice elk with rifle.
You're kind of a bit like us in that you've obviously got some preferences, but you're willing to play the whole field, which is kind of fun, right? Because you have archery hunted, you've muzzleloader hunted, you've hunted with a rifle, you've hunted close range. I mean, the whole gamut. It's just like you're in it. That's what I mean when I say like you're not just an archery hunter that hunts when he gets an archery tag.
Yeah.
Sage is hunting
whatever
by whatever means possible, whenever possible.
Same thing, like driving all the way across Nevada to go hunt 6 antelope in 60 square miles.
I can relate to you a little bit about, and I'm proud of you of, and hopefully it continues, is you've also been pretty interested in branching out, right? You haven't just stayed local here.
Yeah.
You guys have started to do some big Alaska trips.
Yeah.
You've had some fun tags, even that are local, that are unusual, like your really big moose that you killed, which was cool, but you've made some pretty cool trips happen. And then across the board, too, with turkeys, whitetail, you know, a whole bunch of different stuff. So,
and that same thing just contributed to my dad. I mean, I was 9. We started going to Missouri, and we would hunt whitetail. And
kind of sounds like he wasn't fixed on one. I mean, obviously, maybe had elk as a preference, but any opportunity that took you guys outside, that gave you guys a gun in the hand, right, and sleeping in a camp, you were doing.
Yep.
You know, which is.
Can you tell the story of when your dad quit cigarettes? I love this story.
Oh man,
dude, this is awesome.
Yeah, we were. Man, I can't remember how old I was. I think I was in maybe 6th grade. I think it was 6th grade. But yeah, my dad smoked cigarettes a lot.
And he was a great athlete growing up,
he was a great
too.
athlete in high school. He did track. He was All-American. And so we went turkey hunting in Missouri. And that was actually the first trip we shed hunted, and we paid for the whole trip off shed antlers. And we were like, wow, that's so cool. We did that. Like,
cool. Yeah.
we were like proud of ourselves about that. And I remember just, just fun, just the trips we had. We just had a blast. And it was back, we just wanted to kill stuff. It didn't matter. We just wanted to kill stuff. And the first day, it was unbelievable morning. I mean, from what we were used to hunting public land here and, going towards Montrose and all that stuff and barely hearing birds, and then coming back and going to Missouri, and then it was just incredible. Just, 10, 12 toms gobbling, going crazy. And we saw the birds, and I remember they were 80, 90 yards away. They went away from us. We walked out. I remember I looked at my dad. I was like, dude, if I don't kill one, like, that was worth it. Like, that was incredible. Like, we hunted turkeys a lot, and it was bad back in the day. I mean, the population's come up quite a bit out here, but it was tough. And so we went and actually shot one. In Missouri, you can only hunt till 1. They don't want you to hunt after 1 so the hens can nest.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Take some pressure off of the birds. And then they can get a little dumb in the afternoon, the toms. So they try to just keep that away, and then...
Like Doug and his guys, they don't hunt the afternoon. They let the birds settle, come back to the roost. They don't disturb the roost. And, Okay.
So we popped into another spot, and this was just like, my dad was buying hunts off eBay. Like, it was just some dude in Missouri that says, well, I have 300 acres, come turkey hunting. And we drove to Bethany, Missouri, and met the dude and pulled us up and said, here you go, good luck.
Awesome.
And so
How old are you here?
I don't know. I think it was 6th grade. Okay. So it was around that time, maybe 7th. So it was around that time for sure in middle school. And we called these 2 toms in, and boom, I shot one, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was awesome. And so we go, it's, a couple days, and we don't have any luck. Like, we're striking out, we're getting close, but it's not working. And so it's like getting late. It's like 11 on the last day, but it was a great morning. A lot of birds talking, I remember. And we called this tom up from this ridge, and we'd heard him there the day before, and got stuck on the fence line and wouldn't come in. So we went back there, and he comes walking up the ridge. He's coming in, and my dad was jacked. I mean, turkey's just, and still to this day, he just comes unglued. And sometimes I'm like, dude, what are you doing? But it's like, again, he just loves it. It's just exciting to him. But yeah, that bird came in, and he shot, and it rolled, got up and ran. He was like, no way, jumps up, runs down, and I don't see him. Boom, I hear the gun go off. And then, like, nothing, it's quiet. And I'm like, hey, he comes walking up, he's got the turkey. And he's like, he went to cross the ditch. I threw my shotgun at him. I hit him, and then I tackled him. And he's out of breath, like, dry heaving. He's like, all right, man. I was an All-American track athlete. I'm done smoking. I'm quitting smoking cold turkey right now. And he never smoked a cigarette again. Like,
isn't that awesome, dude? But I love that he threw his shotgun at him, like, across. I remember Sage, like, telling that story of, like, he's crossing a ditch, and he's just like, wham. So did his shotgun go off when he threw it?
He shot at it, but he said at first he was running, and then he's like, I have a shotgun in my hand. What am I doing?
That's hilarious.
Trying to shoot it and missed him, and then,
That's such a... what a hilarious moment.
I know, but that's awesome. Like, that changed the trajectory of his. He probably added 20 years to his life because he's freaking dry heaving.
If you were wondering where quitting cold turkey
exactly,
came from.
That is so funny.
That's right. And then just straight up, just from that day on, just never touched another cigarette.
Yeah. Just quit from there on.
What a badass.
Yeah,
crazy.
That's freaking awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, I mean, and you still have a profound love for turkeys for sure, and your dad does too.
Yeah, for sure. It was just good memories, just something to look back on as a kid. And it was so tough back then, and it's so fun now. I mean, we do pretty good, and we have some good places to hunt too, so that makes it easier. But it's just,
you got to do some archery stuff next.
Yeah,
for sure.
I know. We're trying to Sage.
So I shot the tooth this year with the bow.
Yeah, you did.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's what kind of really got you kind of just a little reignited a little. With that.
Yeah, because that's what I was telling. Like all the guys that got me into bow hunting, like when we were in college, are not bow hunting anymore, and I'm like, dude,
killed them with the bow this year. The year I damaged my hand on that fence picket. I destroyed my hand knocking in a fence post. And so I used a kid's 410 shotgun that year.
Yeah.
And then this year I used my 12 gauge shotgun.
Yeah, you went the opposite.
Which was actually pretty exciting because it is much
It is,
easier.
yeah, it's still
much
fun
easier
shooting
to kill
in
one.
the face.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And this was the very first time with a bow. I've never really done this before, but this was one of the times where I for lack of a better term, Hunter's gonna kill me for this. Bedded one down, right? I roosted the turkeys, right?
Yeah.
Which is what he loves to do, and actually like puts the effort in. But I've always wanted to do that. It's like put them in the tree, come back in the dark, and I didn't totally know. So I get there in the complete pitch dark, snuck up, and I put myself right there. I can't even hear, so I've got to be like literally like 60, 70 yards from birds, to hear them like pupping in the trees and then gobbling. And first year with the shotgun, but it was one of those where like they literally flew down, and within like 5 minutes I killed one. It's like right there, like almost like just put yourself right in that pocket, which is hard to do with a bow.
Yeah.
But
For
I
sure.
can see how you guys have fun doing that. And the world of hunting turkeys here, like you grew up first experience and what you've done there, it is quite different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very different
For sure.
I mean, yeah.
The other thing with a turkey hunt is it's a lot of cat and mouse. It's strategic. It's kind of like elk hunting a bird,
Yeah.
kind of, right? Because you get to like either make a play, or you get to call them in, or you do an intercept. Like there's a lot of stuff that we kind of relate to elk hunting that you kind of do with the birds. But you can be loud, you can talk, and it's a social hunt in between that. And when there's downtime, there's real downtime.
Yeah.
You can hang out at camp, and it can be social. And when you're in a backpack in a tent, not so much, right? So that's what makes turkey hunting kind of a bit more fun. In that sense, anyway.
Well, because like we did that my first turkey hunts in college were with Sage, and it was awesome. It was just the boys hanging out there, and we'd be like freaking hunt all morning, didn't hear or see shit, get back to tent, getting shorts or whatever, and then it's like boom, we're like scrambling to get
the
back.
Stories that you guys pack and stuff, it reminds me of Nige and I when we would do our trips. Like we would literally even pack like, I'll have to dig out some old photos. We should post one of like Nige and I doing trips where like Nige has always been the gear guy. Like he'd have like old army surplus, and in every single pocket was full. Like it was full of stuff. Right?
Whatever you needed.
And then when we pack stuff, the same. It's like cans of beans, like cans of like chili. We'd even pack firewood. So some of us would have wood. We're like, we're not cutting wood. We're taking wood with us.
Oh my gosh.
Hilarious.
How far we've come, and now we can live freaking 9 days on a 50-pound backpack. It's pretty insane now.
We've asked a few of our guests this, Sage, but in all of this, what do you recollect as a good story of like maybe your hook moment where you knew you were like, and maybe it was really, really young, where you're like, this is me forever now. Like this is in my DNA, and I'm going to never not do this again. What was that moment? And then on top of that, out of all the hunts you've had, because you've had some really interesting ones, I'd like to hear a story of like something that really stands out to you, that was important to you for some reason. And
man, the hook moment probably was my first elk. I mean, it was the first thing I shot some whitetails when I was a kid, I think at like 9, 10, and then my first elk, it was 12. So I had a cow tag, 4th season.
The first year you could do it in Colorado.
Yeah.
And I remember my dad was shooting a lot of elk back then, so I kind of thought I was going to get one. And he's telling me like, hey, they're a lot different. And when you see one, like it's going to be exciting. Like just so you know. And I was a terrible shot as a kid. Terrible.
Really?
Awful shot. Awful. I would miss all the time. I missed so many animals. And so I remember we hunted the first day and we didn't see anything, and we're coming down off the mountain. It's like late afternoon, and some cows cross the road, and we pull out, jump out of the pickup, and it was a little different back then. So I jumped out, ran over to the side, and I just remember it was ground, elk, sky, elk, ground, and then I'm just starting to time them. Boom, boom, and I unloaded the gun, and he's like, I don't think you got anything pretty close there, buddy. And he's like, I was seeing some snow flying, and
That's
so
hilarious.
we checked, and there was nothing. And I was pretty like, gosh, man, like, I was a little like excited, like, wow, all right. And then So I think we hunted the next day and nothing happened. So I remember it was before school. So he woke me up early. He wasn't working that week or something. So we went up and like I said, times were just different back then. And we went out and we saw this calf. It was a yearling cow and it's on the edge of the trees. And I get out of the trucks, crawl up to the rock and boom, it dropped it. I actually hit it. I was like, oh my gosh, I got it. And it died. And yeah, I remember we walked up to it and then he's like, all right, we gutted it or something. He's like, okay, drag it down the hill. I'm going to drive the truck around. So I'm like, okay. So I remember I drug it down the hill. We loaded it whole into the back of the Toyota Tacoma. And then we drove to school and I was at school at like 9 a.m. Like went and just shot my first elk before class and then
told
went to class.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
I
just,
love the honesty
it was just
of that
hooked.
because everyone's had that moment too, and that's hilarious.
Yeah, that ground elk sky is
Oh man,
that's
I had
hilarious.
buck fever, cow fever bad.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was.
But
Yeah,
that's
you weren't
crazy
shy
because
on
like
the trigger, like
No.
you knew
Yeah,
how to
yeah,
pull the
yeah.
trigger. It just didn't have the getting zoned in
But,
just
like-
dial just yet.
because I mean I never knew that about you because you're a great shot with everything else. But once again, it's
Yeah.
like it's a learned behavior that you just like
Dude,
repetition.
I actually think everybody starting out, which you have to give some people. Obviously, once you get experience and you get dialed in, it's easy to see someone do something for the first few times and you forget
Yeah.
you did actually
Right.
have the ground sky elk.
Yeah.
moment. It's like I remember the very first antelope impala I shot with the bow. I remember when it didn't dawn on me at the time, but Nige asked me, right, because they came in and he was with me and I drew back and I shot one and they took off and it was hectic, dude. It was fucking hectic. And Nige is like, what pin did you use? Essentially asking me like what range.
Yeah.
And I was like, pin. Like
All of
I
them.
was shot.
Yeah.
the center of the housing
Yeah.
went into the center of the peep and the impala was in the middle of all of that. Like,
That's
that was one of those
There's
moments
no
where I was
aiming.
like, oh yeah, you like it requires a little more precision than
Yeah.
just putting it in the ballpark.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
But honestly, what really helped me shoot, and it's crazy, and I like still contribute it to this day, was I used to have a neighbor named Jake, and we got prairie dogs really bad one year out at my parents' place, and they had this old house. It's called a tire house. It was literally built out of tires.
Yeah.
It was like
So we
tires,
would-
The old
hay
earth ship
bales,
type
yeah.
thing.
We
yeah.
would, Jake and I would sit on the roof, I mean, every day this summer and just shot our 22s at prairie dogs. And we got to the point, I mean, every day we're shooting hundreds of rounds. And at the end, we wouldn't even see prairie dogs. So we were just getting cans or the top of
Clump of
Gatorade
dirt.
bottles. All
Yeah.
right, can you hit
Yeah.
it there? Can you hit it there? And it was like that moment, like
Yeah,
that
you learned
summer
how to-
of even just a 22, I just got confident. And I
Yeah.
wasn't,
Shooting
I wasn't-
22s
yeah.
is still,
I did
even
that
for
for a
adults, is
long
great
time.
practice. Like
Yeah.
it's cheap. Like I still every spring when they start coming up again, I go to shoot prairie dogs because it's fun and
Yep.
it just like target acquisition, like pulling out the gun, shooting. Like it's not gonna kick you. It's not gonna, but it just I think it's good to just like shoulder that still, even as an adult. It's
I
like,
did that
Yep.
for. I actually did that for years as a kid. We always had access to a 22. My parents were very strict about 22s because it's not a pellet gun, right? It's one of those
Yeah.
guns where like can be treated like a toy, but it's really not.
Yeah.
Yep.
But thousands of rounds, thousands. I would do the same thing. I'd go on a copy with like a box of like 500.
Yeah.
When I'd get back to South Africa, I'd like buy a whole brick of like 500. And in a couple of weeks, I'd shoot that whole brick. And by the end, dude, you're touching stuff at like 300-400 yards. Like you're holding like 6-7 feet over stuff, just because you could learn how to like anchor, catch your breath, break the shot.
Yeah.
Know in that mind's eye moment I'm talking about, like like when the shot broke, if you were a little left, if you were a little right, so you started to like capture these these
Yeah.
like snapshots in your memory, and then you'd be like, okay, and you get dialed in. Okay, so you got
And that's the same. Like my mom paid us 25 cents a chipmunk that ate her flowers, and I always said that my
Yeah,
mom
that
was the
also
reason
gives
why I'm
you
a
the-
good shot because it was like, I mean, I'd sit out there for hours. So I don't know if any little kids are listening to
Yeah.
this, but if you have little kids, like just
It
get them
godly
shooting
correlates.
stuff. Yeah.
It
The
just
other
teaches
thing-
you to execute.
Yeah.
The other
Yeah.
thing we did when we were growing up with my granddad and my dad, and they'd got that from someone when they were kids too, was like, obviously you got to like get it under your belt. You got to like get the bug, But then what you do is you give your kid like 5 rounds, right? So you get the 22, it comes out of the safe, and you get 5 rounds, right? And for every animal you get back, instead of getting 25 cents, you get another single round.
Yeah.
So if you kill
That's
5
smart.
chipmunks, you get 5 bullets. If you get 1 chipmunk, you get 1 bullet back. And then if you waste that, gun goes back in the safe, right? And that teaches you how to make your
Yeah.
shot count.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is really smart.
Yeah.
That's how. Okay.
I like that.
Okay, so that was your. So you were early on, 12 years old. You got your first elk. I bet that was a fun day at school too.
Oh, man.
I bet at school you probably still had blood on your hands.
Yeah.
We had a family friend, Dave Nelson, growing up, and I learned a lot from him growing up. My like I said, my dad worked on the road. My mom worked in town, and we live 15 miles out of town. So when I was younger, it's like, what do you do? So I went out to the ranch.
Parlin at
Yep,
that point,
we lived at
right?
Parlin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So Dave would pick me up, and I'd go out to Doyleville and buck hay bales and do whatever he wanted me to do. And then I would get a fish to creek or something in the afternoon. And Dave was just a very spiritual guy. He was a cowboy and an Indian, just had this connection with nature. And I don't know, it really like helped shape me, because I admired that. And seeing like there's a different level of respect that he's paying a price to this animal that, unlike anything I've seen, watching hunting TV shows and stuff, they're all jacked. And, Dave killed something, it was like a ceremony. I mean, it was legitimate, like, this is feeding me and my wife for the winter. This is meaningful. It's like, in his mind, when you kill an animal, you took their soul, you absorbed that soul. And that was then your strength for your next hunt and for your next thing to kind of keep building on. And it was I just looked up to that and was just like, man, I love that connection, and it's just something. And I've definitely felt like I've lost that. And these last 2 years, I've been thinking about it a lot, especially elk hunting. And I knew Dave liked elk hunting a lot, so I've kind of felt this connection to him out there, as odd as it sounds, but it just made me think about that more, and thinking less about, I need to kill this size bull or this whatever, just more like, hey, there's the spirituality to this that, no one can take away from me. And it's just, that's the connection that I want. And
It's a good thing to...
Yeah.
That's a really good point. It's a good thing to have experienced that from somebody, that wasn't so redneck, that it didn't have the respect and kind of the weight it carries, and, how you should hold yourself. It's a good point. And then the other thing is you change, right? You get experience. And like you said, times have changed now, where like when you're learning, things are different. When times are different, things are maybe a bit more redneck. But then also I've caught myself in that moment a lot of times. And you've also guided, just like Connor has and I have, just because, we've enjoyed to do it. And it's another way to just get more time behind the binos and the gun, and in the field, that it also becomes a bit of a process, right? You kind of, and we're in this lifestyle now of like efficiency and just doing things quickly and on to the next and doing this. And I've definitely been caught up in that, where I still remember a moment where a good friend of mine, like I'm pretty game on like cutting things up, but it's not from a bad perspective. It's like, I really value the meat, so I want to do it really well. And I want to do it clean and stuff like that, right? But it was like, jump into that. And one day he was like, dude, just like put the knife down and
take a moment
and
enjoy the moment.
Yeah, it really was. I forget what he said. Something like savor the moment. Like just be quiet. and it's a, I mean, there's just different parts of the respect to that. And I get that. And now we're living in a different world. I mean, think about even like what that was, even in our era, right? I actually think there was a period of time where things were fairly similar for quite a long period of time. You had people that were fairly subsistence hunting. There was also just hunting, but by means, get that thing killed by whatever means necessary, get the meat. Then we grew up in the area of like all the way from that to what we live now, which is this world of like social media and influencers and people
Trophies
hunting for good purposes, trophy hunting, guiding, the money involved, the ego that's tied to it, but also people that are very spiritual about it. Like we've got everything now, like literally like the whole field is open to us, and we've lived through that that exponential change, right? And so you're right. It's a good point to bring up for people thinking about that, whereas like we are in that gamut now where you can step back and decide, well, you really want to do it.
Yeah.
What's really important.
And that's what, like, I decided it matters more to me with, like, how I hunt and what I kill. Like, I value my standard of ethics a lot. And, like, Scott always makes fun of me, but I'm like, dude, I just want to get there and dig my toes in the dirt. Like, I just want to be, like, in that environment. Like, I want to feel what it feels like. Like, same thing when we went to Newfoundland. I was like, no, I want to go a day early. Like, I want to like feel what this is like. I don't just want to get there and just start hunting right away. Like, I want to
it's a
understand
catch-22,
it,
right?
you
Because
know?
when you're keen, there's also a part of you that doesn't sleep. Like, there's a part of you that you're driven. When you get to that point, you're driven. Even if you're spiritual, even if you want to savor the moment, you're also like, the pedal is on the metal also, right? So it's kind of an interesting balance to, you have to find yourself in it, because I'm like that. Like, even that same, I totally get what you mean. Like that night where it's like third night, rolled out a swag, I'm living in the riverbank, I'm dirty, I'm hot, I'm tired. It's like, fucking love this. You know, under the stars. But also, I'm there to hunt.
Yeah,
right?
you're there
to,
for a
like,
purpose.
get this done, as you know. And so it's
Living like a dirtbag on the river,
odd,
you know?
right? There's kind of two spectrums, right? Because you're trying to be here and you're trying to be here, and you're trying to find this sweet spot in the middle of it all. And
yeah.
yeah.
What about we asked most of our guests this question too: elk or mule deer?
Oh, tough to beat a mule deer. But I have elk hunted the last few years, and I forgot how fun it is. And just the sounds and the noises, and they're special, man. They're majestic.
He killed a 209 buck and then had to give it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Sage has actually killed bigger elk and deer than us, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yes. Sage is a student of the grind. Like, this is what I love about the way Sage hunts too. Like, he doesn't say he wants to grind and then he's not gonna grind. Sage is gonna grind. Like, and there's something to be said about that, because we always talk about that.
Actually, about like getting after it. Like, that's also one of the things you have to kind of do yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
Every now and then you get a buddy that can do that with you, or a client, but not to the point where like you're in your own mind, on your own shoulder, going for it.
And it's good to get that perspective, like to do it yourself and to really like work hard at something. And we've talked about it a bunch. Number one killer across the board for all these people that we've had on the podcast that are killers is persistence. Like,
100%.
Not quitting when shit gets hard. You know,
chatting
it's
to
like
Gus Carr a little bit about it, and he brought you up, and he was like, that's a guy that, like, he's gonna out hunt you for sure. Sage is gonna he's gonna out hunt you in camp, you know. And it is one of those things. It's fun. Not everyone's gonna ever get to that level of drive, because it does have a different weight attached to it. But if it's what you love, then it's what it is.
But
like,
you don't love it while it's happening. You love it after the fact.
Well, it's not that. It's not the fact that you love it after the fact. It's the fact that you can't live with yourself after the fact.
Yes.
If you didn't
if you didn't put
That's
it in.
the difference, right?
Yeah.
It's not the pain. Yeah. You've heard me on hunts, dude. I'll complain the whole hunt, right?
Yeah.
But I'll be grinding.
Yeah.
And I'll get it done. But you'll never hear me complain after the hunt that I wish I did something that I didn't.
Yeah.
Never happening.
Yeah.
It's just not happening.
I know. And that's an important lesson to learn too. I mean, it's like I've had that in a lot of different situations where it's like, once you're back at the bottom or you're back at camp or whatever, you're like, I should have walked over that last rise.
Yeah.
Like that. I'm already 7/8 of the way there, and I didn't make it to the top, and I wanted to make it to the top, and that'll like change your philosophy.
Totally.
You know, it's like now my mind is like, if I'm there and I'm tired or my feet hurt or whatever, it's like, just get it. Like, you're already here. Like, just get over the top and see what's there, you know?
No, it eats away at you in the off season when you're sweating behind the pizza oven, you know, slinging antlers here, and you're just like, man, I had it. I had more in the tank, and I left it. And then it just eats away at me when that happens. And now it's just, I just try to not let it happen.
Yeah.
And it still happens, of course. Everyone still wusses out on something, but for the most part, I've learned enough now over the years, like, we've killed a lot of stuff. Last day, last light, or just being persistent.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just happens out of shit luck and just
Yeah.
being out there. I mean, you can't kill them
Very
from the
much so.
couch.
You got to put
Very
yourself in
much
that
Totally.
situation. Like, no matter what, it's like you got to put yourself in that situation. Yeah, and I do want to talk a little bit about your muzzleloader bull last year. If you want to kind of
Yeah.
tell that story. That
Or,
thing was a
it's been
friggin'
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was the same year as my
2024.
moose. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, because we got a cool picture of Sage and I from little childhood buddies. Now we got a freaking big moose and a big elk from the same couple days there. That was pretty. And those were both grinds.
Yeah.
Like I was at that one
Totally.
for 19 days, and you were. That was towards the end.
Yeah, I killed it on the 7th day.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, if you want to go ahead and tell that story, I'd like to, because we probably gonna put this into the September's coming series, but I mean that's one that I definitely want to talk about.
No, and I'm going to start it off by saying, the older you get, you do meet some people in your life that are your friends, and then you meet some people in your life that are really not real friends, if that makes sense. But I've been lucky to meet a few people that I'm really grateful for, and especially when you're older in your life, it's different when you're young. You make more true friends when you're a kid. But I met a couple of great people that really helped me out and willing to pack me in and out, and man, yeah. It was just me. I was going to hunt the whole season. So we went in the day before season, and I picked a spot on the map that they'd never really been, and I figured it'd be good. I scouted a decent amount. I got and just picked a spot I didn't know anyone had been to, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot, and looks good. Looks like there's sign, or there's elk sign. There's elk in there, and a bunch of cows, and so we rode the horses in, and the spot that I picked, we're getting close to it, but when we're coming up the trail, we see a mule, and like we didn't really see many tracks, and then we see a mule, and he's tied up he's hobbled pretty bad and in a weird way. Then the guy was definitely pretty upset at him, but we also then found some binoculars. So there's some Zeiss binoculars laying on the ground. I grab them and throw them in the bag, and we get up to the top, and we stop and start unloading the stuff. I don't see no camp, I don't see anything, but I'm looking at the horses, and they're like alert, and I'm like, there's something here. What's going on? And then a guy comes walking out, and he's kind of like being aggressive, and the people I was with knew him, and so she's talking to him, and he's kind of being aggressive to me. He's like, how'd you know about this spot? And I was like, I just picked a spot, man.
Google Earth, buddy. No,
like,
I'm just kidding.
And then, why are you camping here? I'm like, it's the most logical campsite. Looking at the map, this was the best spot for someone to camp. And so then I was like, did you lose these on the trail? And I pulled out the Zeiss, and then he kind of like backed down, and he was being fine. And they were leaving the next day anyways, him and his wife. And so yeah, it was his binoculars. Then he started telling me where there was water, and he started giving me some information. And I was like, dude, we'll ride across the meadow a mile away. You won't ever see me. Don't worry. And so we go over there, and there was, like I said, there's no water. So at least he told me where there were some seeps and a couple spots I could get water, because I went up there with just 2 Nalgene's. I'd figured I would find some more, and then I'm like, crap, I got to get water right away. So we unload, and it was funny on the way up there. The lady I was riding with, she's like, Sage, I don't want you to take offense to this. She's like, do you think you can go 9 days alone? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I've done 6. I was like, but it's been damn near 10 years. I don't know. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. And anyway, so we got up there. She rides off. And to preface it, I didn't see anybody again when she rode off. That was it. I never saw that guy at the end.
Actually a really
Didn't see
rare
anybody.
experience because I know where you're hunting, and there's people everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And so to be there and not, I remember you telling me you didn't see a person the entire hunt.
Just
which
a
is-
little
which
hidey
is
hole.
actually,
Like,
which is actually just a really, that's a cool experience in itself.
Yep, for sure. So I, normal setup camp, all that, get wood, get everything, I'm in for 9 days, and I brought a cooler, so I have like a little bit better food. I have some good amenities, I'm thinking in my head, and so I get water and all that, and the guys tell me about all these elk he's seeing, and I'm kind of like, whatever, I don't believe it. And then it's like getting late, not seeing any elk, not hearing bugles, and then it's like gets dark, you get in the tent, bull bugles right behind the camp. And then it was just from whatever time it was dark, 8:30 till sunlight the next day. It was insane. I
Can't
could
even
barely sleep.
Yeah.
This is the night
And
before
just the night
opener.
before season.
Yeah,
So
you're
I'm
ready to
fired
go.
up.
Oh yeah,
So-
dude, just shaking in your tent.
So then I'm like thinking, I shouldn't have a fire. I shouldn't be using lights. I should only use the red light. I should be smart about my situation and like not blow this up. So I'm like being super stealthy at first and stuff. And so the first day, I didn't really know what to do. I'm kind of thinking, okay, I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna glass this morning. I'm gonna see what's around. I'm gonna try to figure something out. And I glassed up a good bull. It was 7 point. He was probably 330s, and he was like 3 miles away. So then I'm thinking in my head, all right, let's pack up, let's spike camp, let's go kill that bull. And then I'm like thinking, like, I'm going back and forth in my head. I'm like, dude, you're 15, 20 bulls bugling. You're gonna just pack up and just leave these bulls. You don't even seen one yet. You don't even know what they are. You're gonna go send it
Yeah,
over
it's a
there
dead
and
land,
try to
Yeah.
go kill that bull. And I was debating it. And that first night, you know, I used all different tactics. I've whitetail hunted. I'll sit. I'll do whatever I think I should do. So the wind's coming up, and there's this meadow, and I had heard a bunch of bulls that night bugling on that towards that meadow. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go in the meadow. I'm just gonna sit. I'm just gonna see what comes out. And that first night, it was a Primo's truth hunting video. There was a 310 bull came out. He's chasing cows, screaming his head off, glunking, going crazy. There's 6, 7 other bulls in the field, you know, all nice branch antler bulls. Another 300-inch 5-point, just insane. And it was the same. I had the same feeling. I was like, I don't kill a bull. That was the hunt. That was
That was worth
unbelievable.
it.
And I could have killed both of those bulls that night if I wanted. They came into range. They no idea I was there. I called it first, and then I was like, hey,
let it
I need to stop
Yeah.
calling. What am I doing? I'm just going to draw attention to myself and blow this up. Just
Yeah,
let it
they're
unfold.
in here. Yeah.
And then, so after that, I can't remember what day it was, but I knew the guy was gone from the camp. And I think it was day 3. And I'm seeing some nice bulls. I'm calling in some decent bulls, but nothing I want to shoot. And so I go across this big park. I get to their side. It's like a mile and a half. I get to the other side, first light. There's bulls just screaming. So I'm creeping down. And it was tough because I was on the top. So instead of hunting up on them, I'm on the top. Thermals are coming
iffy.
down. It's kind of tricky. I'm trying to always just play a crosswind situation. But the way the week was just ideal. It was mid-50s. The full moon started, and they were just on fire. It was insane. And I was creeping down this ridge, and I call in a couple little bulls, and there's this bull bugling. I'm trying to get to him. I'm trying to so then I shut up, and I'm just creeping.
And what day is this?
I think it's the third day.
Third day,
I think it's
okay.
the third day. It could have been the second, but I can't remember what happened the second. And I'm creeping down, and I see a cow probably like 60 yards away. So I'm scanning, and then the bull's right there, 50 yards. And I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like, I hesitate for a minute, and I messed up my opportunity there. So he goes away, and I don't know why. I pull out my binos, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, okay, he's probably 320 plus, and I'm like, okay, that's a bull I want to shoot. So I creep up enough, and I get set up, but I'm in the middle of a dang elk trail, just not a good setup. And there's a branch that's hanging over. I put my gun on it. Okay, he's gonna come out. There's a couple cows feeding. He's just kind of pushing them slow, and he's bugling every now and then. They're just getting ready to bed, and he's coming out. I just can't get a shot. And these 2 cows creep up. They bed 20 yards from me, and I'm like, uh-oh. And then he creeps right over the edge of the knoll, beds down. And I'm like,
Oh my
okay, I'm in the middle of the elk
gosh.
trail. My gun is on this dang limb. It's getting heavy.
Stuck.
I'm stuck. And I'm like, I am foobarred. So I had a glove on. And I remember I started biting the glove off my hand. I pull it off, and I go to drop it, and it hits the ground, and the cows just pick their head up. And I was like, oh, that was so stupid. What was I doing? And then so they got up, and they kind of didn't know what it was, so they bumped, and then the bull kept bugling. And I went after him for 100 yards, and I was like, man, I don't want to blow him out. I think he's going to come back up towards this park. They're kind of going into the park in the evening, going back down to bed, coming back. It's kind of like this routine. So then from that point on, I'm like, okay, this is my bull. And I'm I'm hunting this bull every day.
Fixated now.
And I'm just fixated. Yeah, I am. And man, I had so many opportunities on this bull, and some just incredible memories I'll never forget. And the one day that was probably the best is I came across, and they're out in the park at the top, and I had to come on the other side as the only way with cover. And I think I almost dumb lucked into the bull that I ended up killing, because there was this bull that was bugling coming up that sounded, after I killed mine, I kind of put it together because it sounded like a beef cow. He was kind of working up the park, and I'm not calling at all, because as the days went on, I was like, okay, all these bulls I'm calling right to me, and I'm not going to get a shot, or at least a good one. I'm like, I need to just locate a little bit, let them talk, and just get in there and try to, and it's kind of like if you bump one on the edge, you're kind of okay as long as you don't bump the bull. You kind of just bump a cow here, a cow there. They're not really blowing out until you like push them and blow them all out.
If you call too much, you call them to you, spook them, and they can break away.
Herd.
So it's okay.
So the moo cow bull is kind of coming up towards me. My thermals are going down, and I'm like, this is not good. So they kind of hook out before I could see them, and they stay in the timber. So I kind of like went out, I couldn't ever see them, and then they started going away. They definitely had to win me. And then so I went back to the edge, and I'm watching the bull, and it's like 9 or 10, and then he's still out chasing cows on the edge of this park. And I'm like, man, I have no play. I'm like, till they get to that timber, I have no play. And then so they finally go to the edge of the timber, and it's like 350 yards across, and I literally I'm running. I'm like, I'm gonna run. I book it across. I get over there. As soon as I'm getting to the edge, I'm starting to see cows. So I creep in, and then I see him, and he's just pushing this calf, and looks like they're just gonna loop out 15 yards in front of me. And I'm like, oh man, here it is. And then the calf comes walking right out, perfect. And I'm like, all right. And then I like peek over, and he like looped back the other way, and I'm like, no freaking way. How did that not happen? The calf just went exactly where I wanted, and I thought he was just gonna just follow her. So then I kind of pushed in there a little bit. I bumped some cows, and it worked in my favor. I bumped some cows down the hill. It fired him up. He ran down and hooked down to try to get him. I ran in the middle of him, and then I get to the edge of this like lip. I look down, and he's 80 yards away, and he's walking, and I'm like, holy crap. So I hook around back down, and I scream a bugle in his face. He runs up 15 yards from me, just quartering to. And I'm just like, man, I just wasn't comfortable with it.
Angle
and just knowing I have one shot, I'm like, man, I just wasn't feeling it. And I'm not saying it was definitely a makeable shot, but I didn't like it. And he whirled around, took off, and I'm like, man, I screwed it up. So then the next day too, I went in there and I called him in, and he got to the edge of the timber, and I couldn't ever see him. It was like I just needed that distance. If I had a caller, we would have pulled him in that day, because he bedded down, and I got in tight, and then got him to come out. And I actually think that same day it was one of the days. I think it was after I had him at 15 yards. They hooked around, and then just rut fest ensued, and it's 11 o'clock, and there's 7, 8 bulls screaming, and I creep in there. And I get into 80 yards of them for a whole hour. And I'm just watching. I'm just pushing cows back and forth.
That doesn't happen that often.
I mean, to be like in them, like you're like living in them, and you're not even living in them to the point where you're busting them out.
Well,
like
that whole
they're
week
just
you had was epic.
It was epic.
It's one of those like
perfect storm.
Yeah,
perfect storm.
Perfect storm is a good way to describe it, because for
sure.
And just there in the lodgepole pines, and I could never get a shot, and it was so frustrating. I remember I was so mad. I was like, man, I just can't kill this thing. I can never get a good shot. And so the days are going on, and I'm like, okay. I think it was the 6th day. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna leave him alone tonight. I've been bumping them around. I've pushed them a few times.
Like, how far are they going though? Like,
depends. The one day I seen all of them, I pushed them bad. Like, they blew out. They went off the mountain, and I was like, that's it. And then the next day they were bugling there again. So it was just luck that they weren't blowing out.
But you also didn't have it, like, it's just you. There's nobody else up there. So you're scent. You've got half the amount of scent that people usually do up there. You're not being ultra aggressive. Like, I mean, you're wanting to kill that bull, but like, I commend you for not making a shot that you feel comfortable with, because a big bull gets to 15 yards from anybody, no matter how they're facing. Most of the time that gun's or bow is going off. So, I mean, kudos to you. But
and it was like this. It was the 6th day. So I'm like, hey, I haven't been to the meadow. I hunted the first night, and a day near a week. I'm like, let's go back and just check it out. So I went in there, and it's the same thing. 300-inch 5-point comes out. They're screaming. It's just incredible. 2 bulls are fighting in front of me, almost like dang near run me over. Like I was getting nervous at the end of the night, and I was like getting scared they're gonna hit me. And
That's freaking crazy, dude.
There's just this bull bugling down, and it just sounds like a moo cow. It was, I don't even know how to describe it. It was so deep and raspy. And he's just bugling, and he comes out right at the end, and he's 350 yards, and I'm like, oh man, that's a bull I want. I'm like, that's him.
So this was never the bull that you were chasing before? This wasn't the bull I was
chasing, yeah. So I'm like, that's the bull, man. Like, that's king of the mountain. And,
just came out of freaking who knows where after a week, like just showed up out of thin air.
But so I heard the bugle.
Well, I thought I was the one when I thought it was him on day 4 or 5 or something at one point because it was same. Yeah. So I don't know if that interaction bumped him over to that spot. But so that night, you know, he comes up above tree line. They're bugling across camp, and I'd hear him all night. Wake up in the morning, he's bugling across camp. I'm like, well, that's where I'm going. So I hoof it down there. I'm like, hey, I gotta, you know, and then I'm seeing his cows in the tree line, above tree line, and I'm trying to creep in there, and he's only talking to his cows. I'm trying to call to him, and all the other bulls are responding or coming, and I'm like, hey, I need to shut up. He's not gonna talk to me. He's only responding to his cows. He's not talking to anybody. Other bulls are bugling, he's not responding.
Just doing his thing.
He's just talking to his cows. And I follow him, and I, you know, see the cows, you know, never saw him, but I knew he was there, and they go down into this canyon, this hellhole. And I'm like, okay, looking at the train, I'm like, they're looping. They're working a routine. They're gonna loop back up this drainage, go to the bottom, loop back up. They're gonna be up in the meadow tonight in the same spot. And I'm like, I gotta beat them there. I gotta risk it and get further in there because I can't take a 300-yard shot. I need to get through that park and try to get to where the bottom is, where they're gonna filter out and be there and just sit and just whitetail hunt them. And so I was like, okay, that's the game plan. I went there that night, and it was just same thing, incredible. The 300-inch 5-point comes 50 yards from me, just screaming his head off, and I'm just sitting there, nothing, no calling, and the wind is just kind of perfect. I was looking at the inReach all day. It's saying it's going to be coming up. I'm like, well, as long as he comes out before the thermal switch, I think I can get it done. And yeah, it's coming, and I'm hearing him, and it sounds too deep. And I'm like, I don't know if he's gonna make it. I'm doubting it now, and all the elk are past me, and I'm like, getting worried they're gonna win me, and it's getting late, and then, boom, he just steps out, and it still sounded like he was a mile away. Just the way
he's in the dark timber and
the way it was, it just wherever for some reason when I was closer, it wasn't as loud as when I was at the other side of the park the day before.
It's very, very difficult to
it is so hard
to
pinpoint
on a call.
Yeah.
It's called us of God so many times.
Yeah.
You're like, that's 500 yards, and they're like 80.
Yeah.
80, and it's 500 yards.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to pick it.
So he pops out.
He comes out, and he's like 150, and I was right where I'd been ranging and stuff, and I'm like confident, you know, I'm making the shot. I settle in. Cow call, trying to stop him. He finally stops. Boom. He drops. I know I hit him in the spine. I'm not
people listening. This is muzzleloader, Colorado's open sight.
Yeah. So I'm not saying it was a great shot or anything. I spined him 100%.
No, that's a great shot, dude. That's such a hard place to hit.
So I reload. I book it across the meadow. I mean, book it. I'm ready to put him down, get it over with. Get to 40 yards. He stands up. Boom. Drops him. I'm like, dead bull. And I'm embarrassed to, like, you know, this is the real truth of what happened. And so I'm all jacked. I'm like, dead elk. He's heads down, like, empty the gun. I'm not going to reload. Why should I reload? I mean, it's 40 yards. I know I crushed him. Like, I shot a lot of stuff with the muzzleloader. I knew it was good. And then I look at my phone, being an idiot. I, like, send an inReach message, big bull down. Then I hear something, and he's rolling. Gets up to his feet and runs. And I'm like, just like beyond myself. Like, I am such an idiot. Why was I celebrating for? And then I freaking reload the gun, and I just take off down the mountain. I'm like, he gets in the timber, I'm screwed. Like, I'm thinking, no blood with the muzzleloader normally, not good. Yeah. Thinking I'm in trouble. Get to the edge of the meadow, or right there's like the meadow stops, and there's like a small 15, 20 yard little park or something after that. I get to there, he's laying in the trees on the other side, gets up. I just put one in him anywhere, just aim, boom, hit him runs down, falls in the ditch. Reload again. He's still head up. Walk up, 10 yards, boom, finish him off. And I was like excited, but also like upset at myself. Like,
emotion.
why did I do that? What was I thinking? But I just was like, man, it was 40 yards. I know I hit him. And like upon taking him apart, I figured out I just hit one lung. It wasn't, and I don't know how he got up from a spine shot, because it was a spine shot, 100%. But he got his ass end underneath him and just was stumbling straight down the mountain. I don't know how, but he was
so tough.
He was going.
And to give this some context, like the reason this bull sounds like a beef bull and is, I mean, he's an ancient old bull. Like I swear there's something that comes with the age of an animal and their resiliency after the shot.
Will to live.
Because that bull is probably, I don't know if you ever got him aged, but that was
no, I left the job.
Ground. I know. Yeah.
Brad was bad at me.
I know. Because that bull was probably, I mean, I was thinking that bull was what, 10 to 12. I mean, that bull was
definitely
ancient, old.
Massive body.
Yeah.
I mean, my whole life, and I've killed some raghorns, but I've been able to pack a front and a back, and I was hurting with just a front or a back. I was like, wow. And I didn't have to pack them too far because the horses, but it was heavy. Yeah. Everything was heavy about it.
Yeah. I mean, because did I score him or did you score him?
I scored him.
Yeah. What was he?
340.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just crazy heavy, long beams, just ancient. The time length wasn't great.
Yeah, but just fat. Like everything was just like insanely fat. Like all of his none of his times were super long. Besides his beams were crazy long.
Yeah,
but everything else
was
was just
60.
Like,
just crazy mass. Yeah, it was awesome. And the next day, I really took it in. After the fact, I was a little upset at myself, and I'm like, hey, like, and then I had the perfect spot before in the nice, beautiful meadow to cut him up. Now I'm in a ditch in a freaking little hole, and I'm like, Jesus, now I gotta deal with this thing.
Builds character, dude.
So I got him cut up, hung up that night, but the day before I'd seen a big black bear. So I was like, in my head, like, man, I gotta move him. At least gotta move him a mile up and get away from the guts, get away from the carcass, and move him. So the next day, I got up, and the people that came and got me, like, they couldn't come get me. And then that next day, a storm was coming, so they weren't coming to get me, or that full day, so they're coming the next day. So I went down there, and I'm looking at the inReach weather, and it's like 3 o'clock, snow's coming, whatever. And I'm just looking out, and I'm just watching the storm, and I'm just wearing sun hoodie and 60 degrees out, and it looks nasty. And I can see the lightning, and like I have to hike a mile over the tree line to get back to my tent. And so I'm like thinking, okay, I got to get this up, and I need to get across that and to the camp before the thunder comes and lightning. So I get him, and I'm like trucking now. Because at first I was like, oh, I'll have like 3 hours. I'll take my time. It'll be easy. And now I'm like, I need to go. So I'm like hoofing it. I'm going as hard as I can, getting it up there. I get them all hung up, and then take off. It's over me now. It's black. And I book it to the camp. And then as soon as I unzip the tent, it just starts dumping. Awesome. And I was like, yes.
Yeah, that's a win right there.
What an epic hunt.
I know.
It might be one of the top elk hunts you ever get to do in your life.
For sure.
Like, a once in a lifetime
public
type.
land, and it's pressured there. That's not like that place is not. That place sees some action. So to have a place to yourself. I remember talking to you about that. I was like, how did you get into like all of this activity?
Yeah.
Without any people. You know, that's a blessing. It was a blessing.
Yep. Yeah.
Sure. It was a really cool.
And
then to finish it off with the big bull and getting back, and of course you get the drama. Like there's always something happens.
I know.
Totally.
And that's the thing. Is like that happens to everybody where it's like, yeah, you wish it would have gone a little more cleanly, but the main point is you got the job done and you got it done quickly. Like, but muzzleloaders, I mean, you've hunted with muzzleloaders more than I have, but I'm just not like, you extend your range, but as far as like the shock power or the hemorrhaging power, it's just like not there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not a very
single shot factor.
Yeah. And then he's doing the George Washington freaking
like you could put a second arrow on a bow
pretty quick.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you know what you're doing with a muzzleloader, it might be
Especially when your
10
nerves are
times
going
as
like
long.
that,
Totally.
like trying to get the powder down the barrel.
I could see
Like,
him running, just like
Oh,
powder.
man.
Yeah.
Just old school, like pull the cork out
Yeah.
and just like get powder in the fucking bore.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And as crazy as it sounds, like my whole life, I mean, I've killed more stuff with the muzzleloader than anything, and it was always the red dot with the green dot or whatever. It was the 2 green and the 1 red, you know, that type of iron sights. That year I switched to the peep with the globe, and it was different. And I shot a lot that summer. I was shooting really good. I felt very accurate, but in the moment it was different, and it was less of that snap shooting.
Intuitive.
Like when I was taking some of those shots, it was less. Yeah, it's like instinct. I felt a little off, and then I was using these different reloads, and they're nice for the first shot, but it was just different, and I was like, really threw me off. It was bizarre. I was like, never been so flustered with trying to reload a gun, and I was definitely a little thrown off with that
especially
stuff.
when he gets up and runs away after your second shot.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Yeah.
just
And there is a risk, by the way. This is an interesting factor for some listeners listening, which in some places, and I've thought about this, but I've now hunted elk for long enough in enough terrain where if blood is not very good and they can run a fair distance, they're very difficult to find, actually. Like I have
very
12 rings and bulls where I'm like, that bull ain't going 200, and 200 becomes challenging to find an elk.
Yeah.
Because there's some places where, like, if they get into some dark timber in some thick stuff, like,
You'd have to step
they
on
are
them.
very difficult to find. Also, the terrain is not like if you're a good tracker, there's something about elk woods. Sometimes it's fine, and sometimes it's easier than other places, but sometimes it's very difficult to track elk in that kind of terrain where literally you would have to be within 10 yards of a bull to find him. Which sounds crazy because you think you'd be able to like grid search and in 30 yards see a bull, but you cannot. And it becomes a bit of an eye-opener when you do track a bull and you realize when you find one that you're literally like, wow, had I not have just been in this exact point, there's no ways I would have found that bull. It's very different than Africa. It's very different than Australia. There are some parts of the elk woods that are interesting, and once you know that, it is a little stressful. Like you said, it's like if that thing dumps 200 or 300 yards into this kind of dark kind of timber, you're like, I'm in trouble.
Daunting.
Like I'm in real trouble of finding this bull. You know, it could
100%.
I mean, whitetail and elk, it's like it's so thick. Like they love that thick stuff more than anything. When they feel sick, that's where they're gonna go. But there's so much of it, right? That it's like if you hit a whitetail or an elk bad, and you, especially if you bump them out of that first bed, good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Which is it's changed the way we've hunted and tracked elk specifically because elk are not they're a 50-50 actually. They're not very tough and they're very, very tough. That's the problem with elk. Like and they can be a bit of both at the same time where like you can make a bad shot on an elk, he'll run 100 yards in bed and die there if you don't fuck with him. But if you do, he could go a mile. And then finding him is almost impossible. So we've traded off, Nige and I at least, we do not bump a wounded elk.
Yeah.
It is the worst possible thing.
I bumped
There's other
single
animals
lung.
you can bump. Antelope, sheep. There's some things where like you can bump and they'll rebed. You can bump and they'll rebed. An elk, it's like you've got that one window. If it's fatal, great. But if it's not fatal, him pushing another 500 yards or 700 yards, which sounds like nothing, game changer.
Game
changer.
Because I single lunged that one bull. He went over a mile after I bumped him out. Single lunged him, tried to sneak in for a second arrow, bumped him. He went over a mile, and I ended up finding him at like 2-3 o'clock the next day, which sucked. But I remember the next year, I was you let me borrow your inReach, and I remember texting Sage from the inReach, and you like I shot that bull, and he went 10 yards and did a backflip, and I waited 45 minutes after I watched him die. But that was enough of a reminder from last year that I was like, nope. I just sat down and I started texting people. I was like, absolutely not. Like, I'm not going through that again. And it was like, you know, he probably died in almost immediately, but it was like, nope, not doing that.
And that's
again,
one of those things across species where there's this trade-off of like we want something picture perfect to some degree when it happens. Even that antelope of mine just didn't happen that way, and you got fortunate. Sometimes you get fortunate and you get away with it, and there's no drama. Sometimes there is.
Like, how close were you to missing
also
that
this-
spine? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like couple inches up, and it's
Couple
like
inches up, it's gone.
take a chunk of hair off that thing, and you are like wanting to jump off the nearest cliff you can
Well,
find.
it's also
you know?
a mixed bag of like you need to be frantic and hectic about getting more arrows or bullets in it, and then a fine balance of like also getting them in there, because having guided, right, you also see the whole like you're like put a second shot and they don't, they hesitate.
Totally.
And then that ultimately actually results in a totally lost animal, even though you kind of end up with a bit of a rodeo sometimes. There is also it can happen, but you get the animal, right? So like sometimes a rodeo occurs and you need to basically keep shooting till they are dead.
Yeah.
And be on it. Like there's a total balance of like rushing it, like you said, like in the scenario of like I'm getting one in there. You know, I'm like you're at this point. It's not a broadside, lungs exposed. It's literally like
Anywhere.
you're putting
more
damage in that, which obviously maybe for someone that's not in tune with this maybe sounds a little rough, but it is what it is. Because the other alternative is it's going to suffer longer, it's going to go further, and you're likely going to lose it. It just is what it is, you know. And so I know you get that. What an epic hunt, though, man. I mean, that was an epic one, and ultimately, I'm aiming, as you know, for doing the same thing with a muzzleloader potentially, because I've got to archery hunt elk a few different times. Your scenario is kind of rare, though. And it was credit to you for actually kind of figuring out just this like. Obviously, things change from year to year. You know, you could go back in there, and you have been back into that same spot where, like, it's not the same. It's not totally the same. That changes. Kind of fun. That
like you
did,
said,
though,
just the
right?
perfect storm.
Because you could go to one of the best units in Arizona or Nevada or, you know, New Mexico and not have that experience at all.
100%.
And so that's kind of fun. And you've hunted enough to know that, too, where it's like having that amount of remote camp, living by yourself, elk is going absolutely crazy.
I mean, that was like healing. Like that's like a healing experience. You know what I mean? Like just to spend a week like living
it's one of
with
like
the
it's
herd,
a pinnacle elk hunt.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a pinnacle one. Like
and then like you said,
you may not get that again in your life.
Like you didn't cap it off with a raghorn either. Like cap it off with a 340 bull with 60-inch beams or close to it.
Ridiculous.
It's like
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It really was special.
Yeah. I mean, Sage he's stacked up a lot of big animals. We're trying to pull him. Well, I'm trying to pull him back into the archery world. I think he's getting there. I think you're slowly getting there for sure. Yeah, but
by whatever means necessary. Well, what else stands out to you as one of your like? God, you've had some. I want to talk stories that you've had.
I was gonna say like
lots of cool animals that I remember.
I just want to like getting outside of the local stuff and the elk stuff. Like I want to talk about the Alaska trips because it's kind of the same thing where like you like coordinated everything, right? So like kind of like you did for that elk hunt. Like you're like lining up the people. This is where I want to go. Like you're not being guided. You're just being dropped off. And so that's kind of similar. You guys have. I mean, had no experience in Alaska, and then Gus Carr, our buddy that grew up right next to Sage, moved to Alaska. You had your first experience up there hunting moose, and then it was like you went head first.
Yeah.
So, since that moose hunt, I think have you done that twice? That moose hunt twice, caribou twice.
Yep.
And brown bear once, going back for the second time.
And then we did Kodiak deer too. Once. Yeah, just since 2020, we went with Gus, and it was just like, man, you hear about it when you're a kid. And this was a different type of hunt. This wasn't the Alaskan dream, for say. It was, we flew into a bigger airstrip. There was other camps, but we flew in DC-3s, and you're bringing four-wheelers. You're bringing the fattest camp you can imagine. I mean, they literally had pallets of booze, like straight up. You had your own bottle of Crown for the week. Like they were these guys were partying and hunting hard. It was insane.
You're like, how do you do that?
Interesting
I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to, go to bed as soon as we're back, because you're hunting. It's long days. You're getting to camp at 11, getting up at 5, and it's
daylight's 16 hours a day or something.
Yeah.
So
we were there early September. So we went the first time 2020, COVID. We were thinking that it could be, it could get canceled with everything that's going on. We're getting worried, but it didn't. We just had to do tests and whatever, and it was way more lenient once you were there than what we was expecting. But we went out there, man, and it was eye-opening. We were like, wow, this is like, and there you're still seeing people, but it was just like, I don't know, the vastness, the mountains were so big, and
Just
it's different.
remote.
They're not as tall as our peaks, but just from sea level up, just straight up, just, I don't know.
kind of
it
like
was,
New Zealand. It's like, you're like,
Yeah.
that's nothing. And you get there. It's like, well, you got to go from 0 to there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not from 10,000.
Yeah, for sure.
And I kind of was like, I grew up in the mountains. I won't think it's beautiful. But before we went moose hunting, we went halibut fishing, and it was just mind blown all day. Just awesome day fishing, awesome day looking at the mountains, being on the
Might not
ocean,
come back,
and
but
Yeah.
100%. And we went out there anyways, and so we got out there like 2 days before season started. The way it worked was, the first camp goes in, you set up the camp. And then the last camp, so we're first week of September, and the last camp pulls out the camp. So you get an extra day out there, even though it might not be a hunting day. I think we had 8 days out there, 6 days to hunt. So we kind of knew, like, you got a lot to get done to try to kill a couple moose. But so we set up all the camp and all that, and Ron kind of showed us the area. Ron also wrestled at Western, worked cutting meat for Shane Guerreri down at Trophies Unlimited, and Shane's also gone moose hunting out there, and Gus was buddies with him. Gus got that connection from Shane, and then Gus was doing construction with him, and this is Ron's camp. So we went out there, and yeah, it was just special. Just, he showed us everything, kind of gave us a run through, and was like, they're going sheep hunting. They're going to ride the four-wheelers. I mean, and out there, four-wheelers are unauthorized, so you see something, you just go. Like, there's no staying on the trail.
So
from that same
you just
camp,
go wherever you want.
From that same camp, you can hunt moose, caribou, and sheep.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
bears,
they could hunt caribou.
essentially.
There was some caribou, but we never seen any, but way out. And then there was buffalo. It's actually one of the best places to get a bison tag is right there.
Okay.
And it's really hard to, Ron drew one once, and he killed a bull, and but yeah, so you'd see bison and stuff too, but a lot of moose. I mean, we were seeing a lot. It was different than what you see where.
I love those adventure hunts, man.
Oh,
yeah.
You like the first time you drop in on a plane to some
man.
like bush airstrip, you're just like, yes.
Yeah.
This is.
Yep.
Well, and I remember
Epic.
Sage being like, dude, I've had four-wheelers my whole life, and I've underused
realize
a
what
four-wheeler.
they
Like,
could
dude,
abuse the
yeah.
shit
Oh,
out of.
Yeah, we
my
beat
God.
the piss out of those machines. It
And
was-
they just kept
Oh,
running.
and they just kept going.
Oh,
They
yeah.
just keep driving. And the
Yeah.
first day, so there was one spot that a lot of people talk about where a lot of moose go. And there's two spots, and Gus is trying to get me to go to one spot, and I wanted to go somewhere just different. I was like, I want to go to this knob and just glass and just hunt where you guys don't really go and try something different. So the night before, we glassed a bull that was border. And at first, my dad's telling me, like, thinking, dude, it's just going to be like Colorado, where it's like, it's legal. Like, there's a definite, and it was not at all. It was
Yeah.
very difficult to
Kinda
judge.
stressful.
Yeah.
Very stressful. And we saw a decent bull that had a tine that kind of looked like it could have been 50. And so we went to that spot in the morning, and we're glassing, and there's 3 other guys, and we're like, this sucks.
From the same camp?
and- yeah, different camp.
Different camp.
They're on the same knob as us, and we're like, okay. So I'm like, I don't want to hunt with people. We're in Alaska. I want to be with my dad and not deal with people. So we drove off, went up to a little knob that we saw, rode the four-wheelers off, got up there, glassed in the morning, saw the bull that we saw the night before. And I'm like, dude, he's too borderline, way too borderline, like 48, maybe 50. I don't know. He's right there, but it's not worth the risk. It's our first day. So we're watching. It's raining all day, and the guys get off the big spot, the bigger glassing spot. I'm like, let's go up there. It's our first day hunting in Alaska ever. We get up there, and it's just one of those moments, when you just snap on your glass, and as soon as you look through it, you see something.
Oh, yeah.
I look, and I just see a bull. I nose over 50 feeding, and I'm like, dude, right there, shoot her right down there. And crazy that we got him, and we bailed off. hooked around, got off the
Yeah, because you're
four-wheelers.
wondering at that point, like, did these guys see that bull and are
Yeah,
going there,
and they-
Yeah.
or did they not see it?
So we bailed off, hooked down, got off the four-wheelers. We start walking, and we're trucking. We're walking, my dad's in front of me, and it was just shit luck that we saw him because it's thick as hell. The willows are so tall, like you could glass them, but getting in
Once
there,
you got in
just
on
it
top.
was tight.
Yeah.
We get in there, and my dad's walking in front of me. He's deaf. He's half deaf, and I see the moose.
Get along well with you.
He's right in the window, 80 yards in front, and I'm like, dude, there he is. And I'm like, there he is. And then he's in front of me, and I grab him. I'm like, Pop, right there. And then he looks up, he throws up the gun, boom, and his gun sounded like a cap gun went off. It was like just, I think the vastness, I don't even know. It sounded so light. This bull just turns around, and he's like trying to get a shot, and then he just backpedals and backflips down. And we're like, did that just happen? Like, you just one-shotted a moose where every story we've heard is shoot him until you're out of rounds and then
Yeah.
reload and keep shooting? And he just tanked. We walked up, and it just, in my mind, I was like, the first day we ever hunted Alaska, he killed a mid-50s bull. It was just like, gosh, it was just so exciting. And the week was awesome. Gus and them killed sheep. And then I got just a legal bull, four browse. And the last day, Gus shot a beast. It was awesome. It was the last day, last night, same situation, and it was an awful night in the end. And Gus had seen him, or I'd seen him across, and I'm like, dude, that one looks good. And we're standing in this middle of this park, and we're literally standing on the four-wheelers to glass to get a little bit of elevation because it's so flat. So Gus takes off after him, and we hear boom, and then Gus disappears. We don't see him. He's off his four-wheeler. He's just hoofing it. And he's like, he knew he hit him and he couldn't find him. So he's looking around for him. And he ended up walking past him. And when he was walking back, he seen him and then shot him at like 50 yards and killed him.
That story. Yeah.
And then so we get there, we pull up, start cutting it. The first cut, first Gus is going down the backstrap, slips, slices his leg open. And we're like, oh man. And it's just like immediate. And the storm is coming. It's getting windy as hell. It's gonna rain, and it's like 8 o'clock at night. Like we know we got a whole night ahead of us to get this done.
Blade, and he just put it in his leg.
Put it right through his quad. And so we get it cut up. And Gus was fine. Luckily, my dad doctored up the cut, and I kept working on the moose. And luckily, it was all safe. He was okay. And so, we mobbed these wheelers, and they're taking out trees that big, soda can size, just boom, 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 get them in there. And then we start loading them, we get them out, and then the way this trail was, it disappears and you lose it. So we're going for like an hour, we're lost. We can't get out of the meadow. And anytime you start going through, it's called a swamp. And it's a swamp.
Like you have to back
have to be on the trail, or you're not getting out of this. You're just getting stuck. We're getting stuck. It's pouring rain, windy as hell.
Quads are loaded.
And just
with meat.
it's just a shit show.
Like get down in a bog and.
Oh man, it's just frustrating. And then so we were like, let's go back around where we were. Let's try to go out the other way that you've never been. So we tried that. Luckily we hit it, and while we were doing it, we run into wolves. We hear the wolves howling, we turn off the wheelers, and then you turn on the lights and you see them running around, and it was crazy. It was bizarre. We rode out, and then we got to camp, and then nobody's there. We're like, where the hell is everybody? And there was this other guy the day before, we'd seen a little, like 39-inch bull, and we videoed him, and we're like, showing the camp, do not shoot this bull if you see him. Like, he was just, had decent paddles, but don't shoot this bull. So this guy was like, wanted to go out to that area. He's out hunting in that spot. And so apparently he shot the bull. And just like we said not to, but when they're coming out at night, they have the rest of the camp. They have Ron, they have the other guys. Ron's helping them deal with it, still got to take care of the meat, do the right thing. And they're coming out, and they're riding through with the headlights on, and there was a sow with 2 cubs, grizzly, charges them. Ronnie never been charged before at this spot. They get charged. They're shooting at him. They get out of there. They're good. They're all, luckily nothing happened. They were safe. They got out. But yeah, crazy. So it was just, we were hooked. We were like, hey, what's the next thing we can do? What can we do DIY? And then my dream was a moose hunt. My dad's dream was caribou. So we're like, we got to do caribou. We got to do that next. We got to experience. And then the Alaskan experience of getting dropped off way from nowhere, nobody around, just us, just that experience is what we wanted. And we went in 2021 and did the same thing. We went up to Kotzebue, and it's way north. It's above Nome. It's super small village. It's an Inuit village. It's different. The way of life there is a lot different than modern here. And there's still modern stuff. There's still all the cell phones and all that. But just, we were there again this year, and it was refreshing walking the streets and just seeing people just enjoying life. Like, not playing video games, not staring at their phones, little kids riding four-wheelers, little kids throwing the baseball or the football, just everywhere. Everywhere you look, that's all they know. It was just refreshing compared to some of the stuff you see down here. It was like, wow. Just a different life up there.
You would lose your shit if you came to Australia. Some of that, like listening to this, how much you revere that, like the outback Australia stuff is like the same thing
South
on the other side of the world, right? It's like this remote, middle of nowhere, desolate kind of. Yeah, you might have to do that. You might
want to shoot a water buffalo.
Yeah. You might want to shoot a water buffalo
For
in
sure.
the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, the only thing that us mountain boys like about Alaska is the lack of snakes and big creepy crawlies.
But that adds just another whole, like in the ocean, you fall out the boat, you get eaten. If you cross the creek, you get eaten by a crocodile. In camp, you could get bitten by a snake. In your bedroll, there's going to be spiders. Like, it's fucking epic.
Yeah.
It's so epic.
Yeah.
It's like you need to do that.
Yeah.
You need to do that. We might need to figure something out.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be
If we could get a couple of us out there, I've thought that, we've done a couple of trips, and I've got some really good buddies out there that live in these remote places that it's kind of one of those ones where, even different than Alaska, where out there, like, if you just don't know the right people in the right place, it's just not happening. There's no, other than a straight guided hunt.
Yeah.
Which is just unreachable for us.
Yep.
Per se.
For sure.
It's right on the borderline of being like, that's a lot to take on.
Yeah.
Even just the logistics of getting there, it's like double the distance of Alaska. And, that sounds fun, dude. And I've, by the way, never done Alaska.
Yep.
And we're doing it for next year for sure.
Yeah.
So
it's something you got to experience.
I know.
And I don't know, it teaches you something else. Like the more we've done it, you just like learn more resiliency, and weather's just, it's
you guys
insane
did the trip,
out there.
Right, where you spent
just
a freaking week in a tent.
Yeah.
We've had
That's something that I would struggle with.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's other constraints to South Africa and Australia that you have, but it doesn't confine you to your tent. Like, I've got some buddies who hunted New Zealand a lot and Alaska, and those are two places I've heard of guys spending like 7 to 10 days in a tent, and that for me would be. I remember when you told me about your guys' grizzly trip, where I was like, that would take some.
And this sums up Sage's mentality. Like, Sage goes, Kodiak sucks so much. Like, the weather's terrible, the mountains are hard, the hunting's hard, and I freaking love it. Like you just, like, it is like all the circumstances are just like so difficult, but you love it because it's like teaching you that resiliency, like you said. It just
and the first time I went, I mean, I'll be honest, I was scared when we went deer hunting. It was crazy. I mean, it was straight up the first time on a hunt where I couldn't wait till it ended. And that year, the year before I shot my big deer, I just guided a sheep hunter. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so rough and tough. And just like had this, everyone has that idea of themselves in their head. And I'm like, oh man, I can handle anything. Caribou hunting was no problem. And we just, on a whim, end of September, like, let's just go deer hunting. Let's try it. We called up the air taxi, like, yeah, we have room. So we flew down to Kodiak and just tried, picked a random spot on the map. And these air taxis, they don't tell you anything. Like, they're quiet. They're not outfitters. They're to fly you in somewhere and fly you out.
Yeah.
They don't tell you nothing. They're quiet. And so they weren't telling us stuff. And so we just picked a spot. Okay, let's try there. And we flew in there. And first day was great, you know, not seeing bear sign, but the whole time in town, everyone's just talking about bears, 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 you know. And you're just like, man, these things really that could really happen? And I'm just like, wow, okay. So my dad's deaf, so I knew that. So I'm thinking the whole time, like, hey, if anything happens, it's 100% up to me to like make sure we live.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting a little nervous, and we'd seen some deer, and we're kind of struggling. And the second day, another plane flies in the other side of the lagoon, and I'm like, well, this sucks. So now this spot we have to ourselves, there's another camp, but they're still far away. And we hike up the mountain. So we're hiking up the mountain, and we're starting to see more deer, and we're like, hey, we're starting to see some bucks now, and then two guys are on the other side of the ridge, and we're like, we just see them hiking, and we're like, what the hell? Where are these guys from? We're like, we picked a spot knowing there was no one there, that they had flown in, thinking we'll have it to ourselves, but there's other air taxis, and other guys flew into there, and there was another guy on a
wild card with Alaska. That whole like unknown of like someone's it is what it is.
Yeah, so it was just stressful, and then that night we get back to camp. Dead silent, but the storm's starting to come in, and we're right on the edge of the ocean, just the only place we could camp. And I hear 3 gunshots from the other camp, and the rifle's moving. It's like boom, 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 and I'm like, that was a bear. I'm like, what else would that be? What dark? It's dark outside. 3 shots. It's moving. So then I'm like peak alert, like, oh my gosh, what if they didn't kill it? What if they wounded it? What if, you know, all this stuff happens? I'm just like in my own head for no reason, but I was just a little uncomfortable.
With you,
yeah, we just had our rifles. We just had our 300 Win Mags, and so then the next day is hellacious. I mean, unlike any weather I'd been in so far. This is our 3rd trip to Alaska, and this is just insane wind. I mean, 40 to 70 mile an hour, just sustained. Just the tent, wake up in the middle of the night, half the tent is flying. We were in a floorless teepee pretty much, and it was so stupid. There was 2 inches of water in the tent. We had everything in the middle. We're on little cots, so at least we weren't getting wet that way, just enough to stay out. And that day, a helicopter and a beaver flew in. I mean, horrible conditions that they would not fly in. Not fly in.
Happened.
So we're like, something happened. And to this day, we don't know what happened. We asked the pilot. They didn't know. They thought it was us. And we don't know. We don't know what happened. I mean, we saw the guys, so I assume
somebody
they were okay.
The next day in that, which they wouldn't have flown in. Those guys wouldn't have come in that condition.
No.
Unless an emergency.
And so the next 3 days, it was like that. It was just horrendous. And I was like, I was scared. I was literally like, man, I'm not as tough as I think I am. This is crazy. And this is the real deal shit, dude. Like, are you really that guy? I guess just questioning yourself. And my dad threw out his back. It was just a shit show. And he ended up shooting a deer like the next day because he was so mad. He just started hiking, and he just shot this little buck. And he's like, whatever, I fucking killed one. And and then we did see a big bear that next day on his carcass, and we ended up flying out. I didn't get a deer. We saw a couple of decent bucks, nothing that good. And we flew out, and then it was just like we talked about, type 2 fun just ate away at me. And I was like, dude, you got to be able to do that. Like, why were you scared? What was, and just reflection of that, just of like, okay, I knew we were going on a bear hunt in 2024, and I was like, man, I got to be ready. I got to be okay with whatever happens and just not be phased.
Yeah.
And it teaches you that. And that bear hunt was the same. It was 12 days of just pretty much everyday rain, wind, just cold, just 17 hours glassing. It was a grind, and it was difficult. But man, that island, they describe it as the Emerald Island or the Rock. And if you stay in Kodiak long enough, you see both, and they're complete opposite contrasts of each other. But man, when it's night, it is beautiful. It's incredible. The island is so full of life. And and then just the giant bears, there's deer, we were seeing a lot of foxes, and there's so much different game, bald eagles, those type of stuff. We were watching dolphins on the bear hunt on the edge of the ocean, and just cool things. Just they're not, I don't even think they were dolphins, but porpoises, that's what they were. Just things you just don't see all the time, and it's just fascinating. And it's tough out there. There's guys that do that all the time, man. They're the real deal. I mean, it's tough. And the hiking out there is so, you look at it, you're like, oh, it's a nice, beautiful grass field, and it's not. It's roly-poly, tussocks, and it's tough to walk in, and it's always wet. Like, just live in rain gear. I mean, that's what we learned. You might have one pair of normal pants and just 2 sets of rain gear and just long johns rain gear, and because if it's not raining, it's going to be wet. So just wear the rain gear so you're not wet, and you don't want to get wet out there. So you just try to stay dry.
Yeah,
But
I mean, that's the thing is like these storms here, you know, it's like you do your best to stay dry and like keep your rain gear dry and just like keep everything dry. But there's 30-minute squalls. Like
it's totally momentary.
Alaska's like just a driving rain.
It was the first time that I like didn't feel in control, where I was like, wow,
do get that.
Okay, Mother Nature is, if she wants you to stay here, you ain't going anywhere, man. So and I just learned that now. Like, hey, it sucks out. What can I do? Am I gonna bitch and get in a bad mood? Like, just accept it. It is what it is.
It's an interesting thing. It's a different type of persistence. We talked about that earlier, where like it's one thing if it's like your drive pushing you forward, but it's a different thing if it's your endurance pushing you through something that's out of your control. You know what I mean? Like here it's like hot, you're tired, whatever the conditions are, it's you going forward. There it's a wall holding you back. It's kind of a different type of persistence, you know. For sure. I mean, I remember that with Nigel and I doing some backpacking in Europe, where you've got the sustained wet, where like day 3, day 4, like it's you can like tough it out for a bit, and then there's this like realization where you're like, this is not changing. I can't dry anything. Like this is my life now, and that it's kind of it's a bit of like a succumbing to basically like that's in control. I need to just bear this, as opposed to like here you can like change your circumstances. There you can't. It's like there's nothing I can do to change this situation. I simply need to bear what's happening. I'm wet. I'm going to be wet when I go to bed. I'm going to be wet when I wake up. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be wet. I can't glass. I can't. It's kind of a different persistence, you know, for sure. That
when I've been through here, I've been through like a full day, maybe a day and a half of like solid rain, where you're tent bound, you're wet, you're waking up with wet boots and stuff. But that's about the longest extent that I've experienced as far as like weather that is almost unbearable, where it's like, I mean, a freaking day of driving rain is just like, you're like, dude, like
because here it can change like 30 minutes of sun, like all your stuff can be dry literally in 2 hours. Whereas like there, it just can't. It can't. You know, it's like stuff
the humidity
gets so
in the air to keep that stuff wet. Anyways, you know, it's like even if it wasn't raining, like everything's still just gonna
still
be
wet.
Yeah, you're on the ocean.
But yeah, it just makes me look up to the dude like Seth. I mean, that guy's an animal, man. I mean, was he 14 years now guiding up there, and just he's
and that's why he picks his guides from there. Like like Hunter's an exception, but he's handpicking those guides from Alaska because he knows they're students of the grind also, and they can get through whatever this throws at them, you know, because a lot of these outfits that are hiring guys, they're hiring young guys that are ambitious, that don't have the experience, but they grew up in a place that's even easier than Colorado. So Seth's pulling his guys from the hardest place. And it's a breeze, you know, and that's who you want to be guided by, is somebody like that.
And
you know,
that's the beauty of hunting, right? It takes you all over the world, and it takes you to these different. I mean, I always thought of like cold mountain hunting as being some of the most dangerous places, but hot, desolate hunting might be more dangerous than being cold. But that's the beauty of it, right? It's like Gunnison, later seasons, like you could get into serious trouble here. Elevation, you can get into serious trouble with. Alaska, you can get in serious trouble. Australia, in that like hot heat stroke, lack of water. Like you've got all these spectrums which, you know, can really just swing the table for sure on that. The hot is a different one. It's kind of funny, even just with this recent hunt, where like I learned how to tolerate the heat. Like some of that very northern territory, Australia and Cape York Peninsula, it's so friggin' hot and it's so humid. Like that's another one. It's like imagine being wet with no rain.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
being so
True.
hot and so humid, right? But there's literally not a drop of moisture in the air. But you can take a shower, come out, dry yourself with a towel, and just be sweating so much that you're wet. Get in your bedroll, roll into your bedroll, and within 30 minutes your pillow's wet, your bed's wet, you're just sleeping in wet
Yeah.
conditions, right? But there's no fucking rain. There's nothing.
Yep.
It's just straight humidity and heat. And so it's fun, right? It's the
Yeah.
whole gamut of like all the different ends of the spectrum. And then
I mean-
the cold here is no joke. No
Yeah.
joke.
When the sun goes
you could
down.
break down a vehicle in Gunnison in the middle of the winter and you could freeze to death in 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
If you got it caught
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's
100%.
kind of a
But I mean, the takeaway from all this is people that, might be doing some type of hunting where they're very comfortable with, get uncomfortable.
Yep.
Be uncomfortable.
100%.
Like see what you can put yourself through, because you'll never know. And I haven't had to experience that with Alaska yet, where it's like I haven't got to test myself. I've tested myself here and other places, but test myself in a different situation like that. Like even Seth killed that caribou last week or whatever. Sage shows me the picture. The mosquitoes. Oh
man.
my gosh.
I do hate
Insane.
mosquitoes.
I mean, that's like, but Seth's just sitting there in his shorts, smiling with a caribou, and Sage is like zooming in, and it's literally just like, I mean,
Oh my gosh.
everywhere. So it's like, yeah, that sucks, but it's like, how much can you endure?
Yeah.
Like, how much can you?
pick your suck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you either get decent weather in August up there in Alaska
Yep.
with just mosquito heaven in the bog, or you
Or it
pick
could
it cold
snow.
or rain, or
Yeah.
like Alaska's just extreme, like across the
Yeah.
board. It's just extreme. It's even extreme heat, I would imagine, in some parts of the summer when they're having good weather. It's like,
Yeah.
It
For
could
sure.
change in a heartbeat, like a lot of those places. Well, what's next? What do you guys got any kind of interesting?
No, I got a muzzleloader deer tag, and then my dad's got an elk too, so we're gonna go in together. We're
Okay.
gonna get packed in again, different area.
Okay.
But no, not anything too big. We're going back to Kodiak in the spring
Okay.
for my dad. Hopefully gets redemption on bear.
Okay.
yeah,
We're gonna go to a different part of the island, down to the southern part.
Okay.
And we're actually going to go with these guys. And the crazy part is we met them in 2022 in the hangar.
Yeah.
They were just there because we were delayed for 2 days, because we got to Kodiak. It was total downpour. I mean, it rained 2 inches a day both 2 days.
Jeez Louise.
And it was, so you couldn't fly. We met him in the hangar, and he has a son that's probably about, my age, Connor's age. And then they had the dad, who's probably in his 70s, I would think. But the dad guided for the camp when he was younger, and it's the original brown bear camp on Kodiak.
Sick.
So there's definitely some history. Killed a lot of big bears.
Okay.
And my dad's not picky. He's a good, respectable bear comes out. I mean, this is his last opportunity. I mean, he won't be able to do this again. So it's like, if he gets a shot, he's going to take it. Like,
Yeah,
there's
it's not a cheap
it's
endeavor
not.
either to. Okay. So that's in the springtime. So that's your international trip
Yeah.
to look forward to for. So you got Colorado coming up this fall,
Yeah.
and then you guys are going to go back to Alaska in the spring.
He's got whitetail this year
Yep.
too.
Yeah, some whitetail hunts.
Okay, you're going to go back to where you were last year.
Yep, we're going to go to Nebraska. We have a
That was fun.
piece of property out there that we leased, and we'll go out there and do some hunts. We haven't got a scout or anything this summer, get stands up, so
Okay.
we're definitely a little bit behind, but it'll be fun regardless.
It's just hunting.
Just
you
hunting,
know?
yeah.
Just going out there and being. I mean, and that's we've harped on this before too. There are opportunities to be had for those that want to seek those opportunities. I mean,
Yeah, they really are. It's
And
kind of
it-
like my situation
yeah.
here, whereas at the beginning of the fall I had 0, not a single tag, and now I think I've got 5.
yeah,
Yeah.
And I've obviously like beggar can't be choosers tags. Like,
Right.
I'm not going to like primo places, but it's like
I'm
if you-
hunting.
If there's
Yeah.
a will, there's a way.
Yeah,
You
for
know.
sure.
Just,
yeah,
just get out there. I mean,
Yeah.
we knew people in college and stuff, and not saying anything bad about anybody, just they're just too obsessed with the other things and not just the hunt, just Even if it's
Yeah.
a crappy unit, whatever, just get out there, just get the experience, just watch the animals, just see the behavior, and you just learn so much more.
Yeah, just be in the field
And just-
for sure. And that's the thing. It's like and there are people that are in the pool, more so in the States, I think, where maybe in other places where you pay to hunt, like Australia and South Africa to some degree, if you don't know a landowner. But here you're like, hey, I might take 4 or 5 years before I get a tag for this one area, right? Or there's guys that are like, I'll hunt javelina.
Yeah,
Pigs,
whatever.
like,
Yeah, give
just
me
put
a-
me in the wild
Yeah.
with something sharp,
Yeah.
and like the rest is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
you know?
Oh yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
There's kind of a
And yeah, I mean, it's just you can find a way to make that
Yep.
that happen and make that commitment. I mean, it's just yeah, you guys will be playing the leftover game tomorrow. Like I even got to the point at the end of July where I'm like, I can't do that hunt. Like I can't do that hunt either, and I shouldn't probably do this one. So it's like I'm already at the point where I'm like trying to turn stuff down because I'm already full. You know what I mean? And it's like.
Petra a couple of years ago, she like had you like roll.
Oh,
your
yeah.
roll of
He said he
tags.
wasn't going to hunt a lot this year.
Yeah, exactly. That was last year. I had
Six
quite a
tags.
few, and then this year, yeah, I started with one draw tag, and all end up in different states
Yeah,
and
you've got a
different
couple
times
of
a year.
important
And
tags this year. It's gonna
Yeah.
be fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's go time. We're on the board.
Yeah.
I know, and that's
like-
yeah. I mean, yeah, we're on the board before Colorado archery antelope even starts. Andy's got an
Yeah.
antelope down. I can't wait to see that thing and score that thing. And I looked today, and 22 days is when archery starts.
And I'd like to do another.
Coming up.
We'll see
Yeah.
how it pans out. You haven't done this with us, but we were doing a harvest dinner every fall, which is tricky, right?
Yeah.
Because we've got our hunting season. Like it's hard to get you guys anywhere outside of like late November.
Yeah.
Between your hunts, people you're hunting, helping, guiding.
August through December,
No one's got
but
a
Yeah.
spare day
Yeah.
between family and hunting.
yeah.
But I'd like to get everyone together and try to do a harvest dinner. Brad's could be a fun venue for
Yeah, that would
you
be
know,
fun.
where we get everyone together and cook some meat from the season and do a kind of a just a recollection of everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll shoot for that.
That's awesome. Is there anything else you want to share, you think, Sage?
I think you said something like a special animal or something.
Yeah.
And there's been a few, but I think maybe the one that, and it wasn't the story was the most special, but maybe the deer 2021 was just like a big, I don't know, maybe like just a sigh of relief, a learning moment, and just, and it's a pretense that it was, 6 years before that was like the hook for me. It was me and Gus, we were in college, I had a second season deer tag, and we didn't know what we were doing, we were just driving around glassing and seeing bucks, but not seeing anything good, and we're, I'm gonna try to shoot a good one, I'm thinking in my head, and I'd killed some stuff at that point, and I remember like near the end of the season, we glassed up this big 3-point, 30 wide, he had a drop tine, like it was a big buck, and it was like, oh my gosh, like here we go, and we went to stock, we went across this big drainage, and we didn't know what we were doing. We approached it wrong. We probably should have killed the deer, like in hindsight, but we learned from our experience, and we went up, we bumped the buck, we bumped him, we kicked him out of there, no shot, deer took off. And the next day, we're like, whatever. A couple days later, I had school during that time, so we go back. Some Utah guys came riding through, and they're like, yeah, we jumped a big 3-point. We wounded them at 600 yards, and it was just like, man. And it just hurt, and I was like, hey. So I think this is the time, so I'm like wanting to take hunting more serious. I'm thinking, I want to start, I always heard this, if you hunt long enough, you'll get an animal of a lifetime. You'll get the buck of a lifetime, a bull of a lifetime, whatever. And I was just hearing these guys talking about a lifetime of big things, and not just that one time that if you hunt long enough, one day you'll get a good one. And I was like, man, so there's guys that are making this really happen all the time, and making these special animals, and it just amazed me. I don't even know. It started just to motivate me, and it was like, hey, I'm gonna take this serious. I had an archery tag. I'm gonna scout as much as I can. I don't know much about deer. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna pick a spot. I'm just gonna learn, man. And
Yeah, I think I
And
remember
I
that
just-
year where you spent a lot
I
of
spent
time.
so many days. I mean, I think I had like 40 plus days scouting, and yeah, man, I got my butt kicked, and it was a realization that hard work didn't result in the wasn't the end result that I wanted, but what I learned from it taught myself a lot. It taught me a lot about myself, and like, hey, you know what? I know I'm patient. I know I have the ability to not give up now. I know I have this ability. I have enough physical ability to go into places that people don't want to go, and you know, live under the tent and whatever I got to do to try to get it done. And I was close, man. I almost killed the target buck on like day 5, and it to this day still hurts. I've passed on some shots I think that people maybe would have taken, or maybe some animals that I was just hesitant about and I didn't do it. And sometimes I'm like, hey, you know, as I learned, but I had the deer at 35 yards. He's looking downhill, and I'm like thinking he's bedded. I couldn't tell because it was shit luck that I got into him, because I'd seen him a few times, but either in the pines. It wasn't traditional willow type high country. We were more in the fringe, more where I found the deer, and I was like, just thought I could kill one. I didn't really ever think about a stock. Just I'll get in there and I'll kill one. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And then I was struggling to bed him, and I was like, hey, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do to get myself positioned? But there was another good buck that I would have shot, and so I glassed him up like day 4 something. Day 5, he's in the aspens in this weird spot. It's super windy, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna go around, and I'm just gonna go hunting and see if I can luck into him and just be quiet, still hunt through that patch. And I was still hunting through it, and then I seen my target buck, which I didn't think I was gonna see. Just shit luck, he was there, and it was this cat and mouse. I'd see him at 60 yards. I'd get close, couldn't get it. Then he would like go over the knoll, and then I would keep going, and like I'm just creeping through, and then boom, there he is. He's looking away, and I'm like, oh my god, dead deer. Like I'd shot so much. I was so confident. I was like 100% I'm killing this thing. Like I get an opportunity, he's dead. And yeah, man, to this day I like wish I might have tried it. And I'm not saying that's like the ethical thing to say or the right thing to say, but sometimes there's just like, you got to be a killer, and sometimes you got to risk it. And we all know there's that line. If you do it long enough, sometimes it's either you coming home with a buck in the bag or not. And I didn't take it was just like neck up, really, you know, front of the shoulder I could see up, not behind the shoulder. And I kind of just sometimes wish like, man, I should have just tried to hit him in that artery and just try it. But I thought he was just gonna get out of his bed, and then I figured out he was standing, and then the wind was it was blowing strong uphill, but every now and then you get that downdraft. And then I kept feeling it, and then I
like
hit one pine.
Moves the wind, and then
it hit one time, and he just boom, boom, turned and just hopped away. And I was like, oh my God. That was like, opportunity was so close, and it slipped away. And I had another big buck a week later I got in on and had him at 55 yards and couldn't get a shot and was just so close. And then I was like, hey man, like I want a big deer. Like that's my focus. This is what I'm going to dedicate my seasons to. This is what I'm going to focus on. I want to guide for deer, and I just want to spend every opportunity I get looking at these deer, figuring it out. And I learned so much, and just spending all that time out there and just starting to see more and more animals, and I would get close, and I started getting close, and I was turning them up, and then I just like couldn't get a chance. And then I'm knowing my friends are getting big deer, and then all this, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? It's like I'm so close, but I can't seal the deal. It's like it's right in front of me, and I can't grab it, and it was just frustrating. And then so I hunted every year. I got a tag somehow, some way every year, and just kept hunting. And just the main focus, I just want a big one. I just want to, just hold out. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to whatever. And then, we killed some good ones guiding. And then, in 2020, and I don't know if it's the same deer. It could be, it could not be. Don't know. But we were in a spot that I really like, and you just start to learn what they do. And you start to see deer year in, year out, even if it's a few days later, they start to show up in the same spots. And so we had been on this ridge glassing, and then we were walking back, and we jumped these 2 bucks. And the one track is massive. It's just snowed, and there's, the one buck I can see is like 160, and then there's just a mega track. and it's big, and then we jump them again. Never see the big one. So both times I had the 160 like right in the window, and I just can't see the big one. I can like kind of see the shadow behind or something, and then they turn, and I've never seen them. So I was like, man, like the hindsight. So that same year in 2020, there was this one antlered buck with a split like fork, broken pedicle, weird deer, and I saw him one day, passed him, and then the next year in the same area, and I'm, you know, it's really dry, and Nikki killed a great buck the first day, first deer we saw, just shit luck, random spot, just got lucky, just worked out. So I'm like grinding out in this spot, like trying to find some deer that I'd seen before, the years before, you know, whatever, you know, up and comers, just hoping I could find one of them. And I find out that one antlered buck had got shot. So I'm like, hey, the deer I'm seeing are showing up. Even though it's dry, even though it's hot, they're still coming. They're here. They're still in this range. They're still in this zone. So you just got to be persistent. And it was before work. I was like working at 4. So I was like, hey, the more I dropped Nikki off, I was a little late, honestly. And it wasn't some great big story. I didn't glass him up a mile away, find an antler tip. It wasn't crazy or nothing. And get into the area I wanted to be, and there's people everywhere. It's just a shit show. And I'm just like, come on, man. And I like can't glass any of the spots I want to glass. It's just frustrating. Pull into a spot I didn't want to glass because the sun's coming up. I'm looking towards the sun, like just not where I want to be looking at first light. And there's a doe, and they're like, for some reason I ranged them. They were like 390, and I ranged this doe, and she's just acting weird. She just keeps looking back, and I'm like, why is she doing that? Why is she being so weird? And I was like, I don't really have anywhere else to go. Like, what am I gonna do? I'm like, I'm just gonna glass these trees, see what comes out. What can I do? And then, man, that doe, and I was thinking about, like, I was getting ready to start packing up. Like, maybe I'd go to see if I can go back lower and see if some of those spots open up.
Cover ground.
Maybe, there's that thought of,
I want to be driving in the golden hour? Like,
do
I sit it out?
It's like, it's just always that hurry up and, like, what do you do, you know?
Yeah.
And then, that doe's sitting there, and then the buck steps out. And I remember being like, oh, my God, that's a 200-inch deer. Like, the first look. And then I'm just panicking. And I'm like, oh my God. Then like they're kind of running on the edge of the timber, not really wanting to come out. And he's like trying to hook the does back in. He's rutting. And this is like right when the season dates changed. It's like November 5th, I think. It's like, it's pre-rut. It's starting to happen. And I remember I got down in the gun, and I'm looking at him, and I was just like, dude, calm your jets. Like, and I just had all those thoughts in my head. I let that big deer go at 35 yards. I should have taken the shot. That was my chance. You know, like I had another deer one year at 400, and it got foggy right before I pulled it. It was just like, dude, don't let this go. And I just remember I could barely see him in the scope with the sun glare, and he's just lip curling. And I just, boom, touched it off, and he just runs up around and then just runs down and just piles up. And I was like, dude, I think you got a good one in my head. I'm like, I'm mainly hunting alone, and I'm like, I think it's a good one. I look in the glass, and then I can't find him in the scope, and then I'm panicking, like,
he got up.
Did he get up?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! And I'm scanning, and then I'm like, dude, calm down. The deer died. Like, you crushed him, and then see him because I can see him with my eyes, you know, like look up, and he's in the dead sagebrush, and I'm like, where is he? Where is he? And then I settle in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I think he's got an inline. I think he's got this. And it was just like, finally the culmination of all the hard work and the guiding and all that I finally got to like feel it for myself. And like I said,
came to a point.
It wasn't a great hunt story. I glassed an antler tip so far. It was just, it finally came together, and I was like, I feel like I proved to myself, like, okay, I can get it done. Like, all right. And that just helped me just staying persistent, staying on the glass, being willing to let something go if you're not, like, you know, I use this analogy with my dad. We'd seen a moose in Alaska one time. He's like, dude, I think that was borderline. And I was like, did that make you excited? He's like, not really. And then I was like, let's keep going.
Yeah.
And let's keep hunting.
Yeah, it's
like,
got it. Because you know as soon as you know.
When you see it, you just know. I don't know. There's no doubt.
Sage is like this buck. He's being pretty modest about this thing. Was a freaking mega. It was
probably the coolest buck that year. I called it the flame buck just because of the way the like points came out of it, and waved. Like, it was a very very
wild,
unique,
wild looking deer.
big mature buck. That I mean, totally dreams are made of. I remember how pumped you were about
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
And
man.
how awesome that was, and
I mean, just like you said, just all of that like hard work coming together for that moment is like pretty special. Like, and that's what we've talked about before. Like, we remember the ones that got away more than we remember
They
the ones we
teach you.
killed.
They teach you so much more.
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
They definitely stick
And-
with you more.
And
But
like
then
nobody
there are the
wants to go
pinnacle
into a
ones that-
season like that, though. You know what I mean? Like you want to be successful in a season.
Totally.
It's you learn to appreciate it years later, where you're like, if that wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't have learned to do this or been more patient or do, you know what I mean? It's like you
Yeah.
appreciate it years later, but it just
You
sucks
also
while
have
it's
to
happening.
always keep the door open, right? You said something a bit before. It's like you hunt long enough, you'll get one opportunity
Yep.
at a great
Yep.
a great animal. I kind of think of it as in like I'm not getting one opportunity. Like there is always an opportunity of something
Yeah.
great. And I'm not particularly necessarily a major trophy hunter. Obviously, my big New Mexico bull is gonna suck
Yeah.
forever
Yeah.
because that truly might be one that you never see again.
Yeah.
However, doesn't mean I go into next season thinking like I've had my chance. I don't think that.
No.
I think like it's probable I get another chance.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
If
And you gotta have
if
that
the universe
confidence,
doesn't,
too.
Yeah.
if the universe doesn't give it, I'm gonna go look for it.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm gonna go find it.
Yeah.
You know.
For
I think
sure.
you said it like the ever moving goalpost. It's like you start out, you just want to get something.
Yeah.
Then you get something, and then it's like if you're bird hunting or whatever, you want to fill the limit, you know, and then you start filling the limit, and then it's
Totally
like, hey,
changes
what's the
everything.
next step? What's
And
gonna
and
push
it's
me
not
more?
a ladder like this,
And-
right? It's not a climbing ladder. It can be just shifting, right? Like even now where I'm at, where it's like I don't have to kill a 200-inch deer, but I want a great experience on just a good deer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that can be the different pinnacle. Like it's everyone has, which I think now in our industry where things are like there has been this drive for like, well, it's either this old or it's this many inches. It's like, no, that's only a factor for some people. Like that, the tier of way you place it is your choice.
yeah.
That's what makes hunting so awesome.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like it actually isn't up for anyone else to decide.
Yeah.
You can set your goalpost.
Yeah.
And it
Yep.
can change. Like 1 year,
Year
it was
to
a
year.
200-inch deer. Now it's probably not. It might be your wife killing a great buck, or it might
Yeah.
be your kid killing a good buck, or it
Yeah.
might be helping a friend, or it
Yeah.
might be you killing one with a bow, or you killing one with a muzzleloader, right? Like it's this whole gamut. It's like what's the old game you used to play, like the snakes and ladders kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hunting can change. It could be a spiritual experience where it's
Yeah.
like, well, it was the experience that was much more important than just the
End
antlers,
result.
right?
Yeah.
Or the, you know, that's what I think makes hunting kind of interesting, where it's actually not this continuous climb where it exponentially just gets bigger and bigger and better and better. It you can move across the
Like I
board.
took a step
You
back this year with like went to worse weapons and had a blast
Just fun,
doing it,
yeah.
and like killed probably my smallest buck, which he was an old buck, but killed probably my smallest buck, and then killed a decent bull, but I did it with a longbow and a 130-year-old gun, and that was my goalpost for last
Yeah,
year.
That's what
you know
I'm
what
doing.
I mean?
Yeah, you can just move across the board. It really is and everyone's got their thing. Some guys do want to just climb the ladder for that next inches. It's like, fine,
Yeah.
that's your thing. Awesome.
Totally.
Yeah.
But not everyone's tied to that
Yep.
same game, you know?
Yeah, for
You
sure.
can make it whatever you want.
And I'm looking like this year. I'm definitely looking for the experience. Was like I just really wanted to experience that, and it's proving that it's going to be a little bit different than I had hoped for. But I still have the ability to do that. Like that, me hunting mule deer with a stick bow this year is very much in play. Like if stuff falls apart in the first week, I'm going to go hunt deer with a stick bow, and I'm going to enjoy my time. I'm going to go backpack. I'm going to stock every 4-point that I can with a stick bow, because that could change, right? Like I'm looking for a big one, and I hope I find a big one, and I'm going to throw everything at him. But if it's not the experience that I want, I have other options.
And such
Yep.
is
I'm not tied to that.
such is the reality of public land hunting, which some people, you know, that might be from Africa or Australia or New Zealand don't necessarily fully comprehend, is that is part of the experience here. You have other hunters involved in the same country on the same animals as you. It totally changes the goalpost. It's like the weather. You can't control that.
No.
Yeah.
It is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
And so almost have to just, it is part of the experience, you know? It's like you don't have it to yourself. It is Like,
Yeah.
that's part of it, you know. And so, yeah, that's just another thing you got to. It's not ideal. It's not what you want to totally wish for.
But
But
you
it's part of the
learn from it,
experience,
and it's part of that struggle that makes you better for sure, is learning how to navigate through that stuff that you don't want to navigate through,
Yeah.
you know, but you got to figure out a way to do it. I'm not just going to throw up my hands and be like, well, there's other people that are going to be hunting this base and I'm going to freaking go back home. It's like, no.
Yeah,
You got to
you-
adjust and try to figure something out. You know,
Yeah,
you either
you-
stock that or you move to something else or.
I think it also helps you evolve as a hunter that you wouldn't otherwise, right? There's definitely some stuff that, like, just like we all would on private property, like where you'd be like, oh, I'm never going to make this play. Like the chance of me pressuring this deer or bumping him out or something is something I'm not willing to risk. Whereas on public land with other hunters, you're like, I got to be better at this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to have to think about how to be more, like, your whole like risk and reward scale moves.
Yeah.
Because you have to. You're like, no, like either I walk away or I make this happen, and that might me. Like, I know this isn't the most probable thing that I should do. It has a much higher risk than I'm willing to, but the trade-off is to walk away. So
Yeah.
it's like, where do you go? However, there's the line of ethics in that, right? There is obviously that balance as well, where it's like, you can't do something you want to regret, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, makes it fun.
No,
Makes it
and it's
fun.
awesome. And we're still learning. Like, you get to go back to do high country deer, which you haven't done probably since you had that target buck at 35.
It's been a minute for sure. You
Yeah.
came in on an elk kick for a minute.
Yeah,
So.
but see, that's what he did.
No.
He was like, I'm learning deer. All right, killed a 200 incher. I'm learning elk. Yeah, I mean, and
Yeah,
yeah,
340. Yeah,
Yeah.
just give us. At least save some for the rest.
I know.
of us.
Yeah, his antelope too. I'm like, I remember him saying something. I was like, dude, shut up. Like, you got a freaking 80-inch antelope on the wall, 340 bull, and a 209. I don't want to hear it from you. You know. Yeah, no, but yeah, we really appreciate you coming on,
Yeah,
Sage.
it's
It's
Yeah,
great.
for sure.
I
It's been
think
awesome.
we're
That
gonna
was fun.
have Gus out here in the fall. I think I'd like
Yeah.
to do the four of us.
Yeah,
To recap, because you guys have had some good memories together.
Yeah.
And get some of Gus's take
yeah.
on
Oh
some
man.
of the Alaska
Yeah, I want
stuff.
to.
so
I want
that'll
to
be-
tell some
Some
stories
Gus
about.
stories.
Oh yeah, yeah. I want to wait till he's here where
If
he
we
can
can
try to
get a-
defend himself.
If
Though.
we can get a word in edgeways.
Yeah,
we'll see.
exactly. Yeah.
Plus, he's a big dude, so we might just have to take.
Yeah,
it
dude,
back
that's
there.
one of the stories I wanted to tell. He was trying to knee one of our. He was probably what, 4 or 5 years younger than us.
Yeah, he's two. He's two.
2, okay, 2 years younger than us, and one of our friends was giving him crap, and he's like a lot smaller than us at that point, dude. And he grabbed the back of his head and was trying to throw a flying knee into his face. Like, Gus is a different breed, dude. We
Yeah,
love.
he doesn't
that's
back down.
That's a guy you want on your
Yeah.
side for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, Sage, for coming
Yeah,
on. That
for
was
sure.
that was awesome, and we'll hopefully do another one with you and holding another 209. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
We'll see.
All right, man. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Well, we'll check in with you next week. Sorry for the delay, but we got hunting to do, we got scouting to do, and so we're gonna try to pump out these podcasts the best that we can, but we're busy and we're focused on the fall. So
Yeah, I think there's going to be a couple out of the back of pickup trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
this one was
Starlink,
actually supposed to be remote. Andy was gonna call in, and Sage and I were gonna be here because he was hunting antelope in Nevada, but we're done. We're moving on to the next one. All right, guys. Thanks. See you next week.
Cheers.